York Mets meeting the Atlanta Braves. Rheingold beer brings you National League Baseball with the New York Mets. Rheingold, New York City's largest selling beer. And what a remarkable thing that is. In New York, a city of so many different people with different tastes, one beer has become the favorite. Rheingold Extra Dry. Now, we don't know why so many people like our beer, but we must be doing something right.
And today's game is also brought to you by WGY, your sports station for the great Northeast. WGY brings you the full schedule of the Mets' regular season games live from Major League parks throughout the country.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from Shea Stadium. Today's rubber game of the big three-game weekend series between West Western's New York Mets, Bobby Brigham's Atlanta Braves. The Braves won the opener with 2 in the ninth inning by a score of 3-2. The Mets winning yesterday afternoon on a strong 5-hitter by Jack Hamilton by a score of 3-1. The weather, sensational. Just couldn't be better for early season baseball. The skies are brilliant blue and clear, not a cloud to be seen anywhere. Warm and sunny, and a breeze blowing from right across toward left, rather gently. The starting pitchers in today's final game of the series, for the visiting Atlanta Braves, the ace of their staff, last year a 24-game winner, Tony Cloninger. For the New York Mets, their young, hard-throwing right-hander from Fresno, California, Dick Spellman. Now the umpires are coming out toward home to get together with the manager and exchange the batting orders slips. We'll be posting the lineups and batting orders and getting underway with the play-by-play in just a moment. And now a word from Cool.
Talk about sinker to others a chance. WGY comes up with a double play combination of their own every afternoon. Tuttle to Ducey to Edwardson takes you at a smart pace right from 12:15 to 5:45. Start at the top with Farm Paper of the Year. And don't you believe it, it's strictly about cows. When it comes to greening up your garden, Don and his sidekick Hank Coons are the sharpest and funniest pair of trial artists to come your way. At 1:10, relax and listen along with Jerry Ducey. He's the man of 100 voices and the matching change of mood. The music varies from old-fashioned favorites to up-tempo moderns, and you'll swing right along with them. At 3:15, Bill Edwardson comes your way with all that jazz. He's bright, he's brash, and he's a knowledgeable music man. His on-the-scene interviews with top popular music pros are an added bonus you will find only on The Edwardson Show. Join the Big Three, Tuttle, Ducey, and Edwardson, every afternoon on WGY.
Now here are the lineups and batting orders. Eddie Matthews, the captain of the Braves, at home plate with manager Wes Westrom of New York and the umpiring team of Frank Satori. For the visiting Braves, Philippe Alou is in center field batting leadoff. Eddie Matthews, out of action the first 2 games of the series. Is in the lineup today, will be at third base hitting second. Henry Aaron in right field batting third. Joe Torre, the catcher, is the cleanup batter. Rico Cardi in left field hitting number 5. Lee Thomas, the first baseman, hitting 6th. Frank Bowling at second base batting 7th. Dennis Menke at shortstop hitting 8th. And the pitcher, Tony Cloninger, will hit 9th. For the New York Mets, Ron Hunt playing second, batting leadoff. Johnny Lewis in right field, batting second. Jim Boyer batting third, playing third. Eddie Greenbrule at left field as the cleanup batter. Dick Stewart at first base hitting 5th. T.T. Coleman batting 6th and catching. Jim Hickman in center field hitting 7th. Roy McMillan at shortstop batting 8th. And on the mound hitting 9th, right-hander Dick Stallman. And now as Dick Stallman approaches the mound, Gene Jarvis at the Thomas organ, Jack Lee on the public address system will be asking the crowd here at Shea Stadium to rise. And in just a very few moments, we'll have the playing of our national anthem. Tomorrow, no game. It's an off day. The Cardinals here Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. umpires in today's game, Chris Balakutis behind the plate, Bob Engel at first, Frank Sikori at second, and Ken Burkhardt will be at third. Today's broadcast comes to you through the courtesy of Rheingold Breweries Incorporated, Brown & Williamson Tobacco Corporation, and the Sun Oil Company, and is authorized under radio rights granted by the New York Mets solely for the entertainment of our listening audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Mets is prohibited. Coleman fires the ball down to second base with Dick Stroma completing his warm-up. And the leadoff batter in the ball game, the center fielder, Philippe Ballou, steps in. Philippe, over the first 4 games of the Atlanta Braves this year, is hitting .375. The right-hand hitter. Setting up New York defensively, Dick Stewart is at first, Ron Hunt playing second. Roy McMillan is short, and Ken Boyer at third. Now the first pitch of the afternoon, a fastball fouled off. Hit back toward the upper deck and out of play, strike one. In the outfield, Eddie Cranepool is in left. Jim Hickman in center field. Around in right field, Johnny Lewis. Eddie Matthews, the on-deck batter, and then Henry Aaron. Now the windup by Selma. Here's his pitch. The curve hit on the ground to shortstop. In comes McMillan. Straightens up, throws to short, he got it. Dick Stroma retiring Philippe Ballou on a slow curve. That brings up Eddie Matthews. Eddie missing the first 2 games of this series as a result of the virus. Had a good year last year. He bounced back. He had 32 home runs. He takes inside and low. It's ball 1. Eddie had 32 home runs and 95 runs batted in. You name the record for third baseman in the National League. Chances are Matthews has it. Inside and low. Roar on the background of the giant airliner going over the stadium. Matthews, a full hitter with a lot of power. Looks at a fastball inside and low, and Selma quickly has gone behind Matthews 3-0. Eddie holds the Major League record for most home runs in a lifetime by a third baseman. Eddie has hit 464. A strike at the knees on the inside corner, 3-1. His biggest season in home runs, Eddie hit 47. Inside on a fastball, ball 4. Matthews goes to first base. Now the hitter is Henry Aaron. Aaron knocked in the first run in the opening game for the Braves, and he knocked a run in, the only run scored by the Braves yesterday. Let's have the infield looking for the double play. The outfield shaded around toward left. A swing and a miss on a blazing fastball by Selma. Selma is only 5'11", weighs about 165 pounds, but yet he throws the hardest of any of the pitchers on the staff. Dick Stewart holding against the runner. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. It was against the Braves late last season that Dick Stroma established a new Mets Club strikeout record. He shut out the Braves 1-0, and he struck out 13. Stroma started 4 games after coming up to the Mets late last year. He won 2 and lost 1. The 1-1 delivery. A slow curve is over for a strike. Good changeup off the curveball by Dick Stroma, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dick is still experimenting and working with his change of pace. He'll change up off of both his fastball and his curve. The 1-2 delivery. Slow curve, hits foul. Back toward the dugout, no play. Manager Wes Western in this series has had his pitchers throwing almost all off-speed type pitches to Henry Aaron. Joe Torre kneeling in the on-deck circle. The Braves head for Philadelphia after this game today, and they play the Phillies tomorrow night at Connie Mack Stadium. They have a 3-game series in Philadelphia before they return home to open a homestand against the New York Mets. The 1-2 pitch. It's bounced in the dirt. No advance on the baseline. Matthews holding up as Shea keeps the ball in front of him. Salmo pulling down too hard on that curveball. It hit the dirt about 10 feet out in front of the plate. The Mets have a 2-game series against the St. Louis Cardinals here at Shea Stadium on Tuesday and Wednesday afternoon. Thursday is their travel day. They'll be on their way to Atlanta and play the Braves next weekend. Now the pitch. Fastball inside the eye. He wasted the fastball. He didn't want that out in the strike zone, and the count goes to 3-2. Now let's see how Bobby Bregan plays it. He may have Eddie Matthews in motion. Dick Salma up in pitching position. A throw first. Safe, but he almost got him leaning the other way. Real scrambling by Matthews to get back and avoid being picked off. That was a good move by Dick Salma. On Henry Aaron. Now Salma in the set position, eyes the runner, and then steps off. Salma set. There goes Matthews, the pitch. Foul ball hit off the leg and went right back to the mound. But it's a foul ball. It came off the right leg of Hank Aaron. Need a crowd of about 25,000 this afternoon to reach 100,000 for the weekend series with the Braves. Looks like it'll be just about that, probably 25 to 28,000. Rama ready once again, throws to first, holds the ball away. It hit the first base bag, and it bounces up into the field boxes. 1 base off the mound, and so Matthews stops at second. Only 1 base off the mound, 2 off the infield. And so Matthews goes to second base. An error turns to Dick Salma. He made a sidearm throw trying to mix up his ways of keeping the runner. And he threw it low and it hit the first base bag. Three and 2 on Hank Aaron. Hank, a lifetime .320 hitter. Into the stretch, comes to the stop. Down comes the arm. Curve lined foul, deep down the left field line, way back up into the crowd. Mr. Aaron ripped that curveball, but he was too far out in front. For those of you who may have missed the results of the single night game in the National League last night at Dodger Stadium, Claude Osteen went all the way, winning his second ball game as the Dodgers. Down the Cubs 4-2. Foul ball back into the screen. So in the early going in the National League flag race, the Giants have won 4 of their first 5. The Phils and the Pirates are 3-1. The Dodgers are 3-2. Dodgers getting off to a very respectable start, despite the long holdout of Koufax and Drysdale. Jim Lefebvre has been sensational. He has already hit 4 home runs. Checks his runner. A 3-2 pitch. A fly ball hit the left field fairly deep. Back goes Cranepool. He's under it on the warning track. Makes the catch. So Aaron flies to Cranepool on the 3-2 pitch. Now there are 2 away, and it brings up Joe Torre. There are 2 undefeated teams in the American League. Detroit has won 5 in a row, and Cleveland has won 3 straight. Joe Torre batting against Dick Salma. Fastball is over at the letters. Strike 1 call. Joe has had only 3 hits this year. 2 of the 3 were home runs in the opening ball game. Braves lost their opening ball game in 13 innings on a home run by Willie Stargell of Pittsburgh. Tony Kleininger went all the way in that game. Curve of beauty, broke on the outside corner, strike 2. Tony Kleininger was a 24-game winner last season for the Braves. Lost 3-2 when he went 13 innings in the opener in Atlanta, and he is the pitcher today against the New York Mets. The only pitcher in the majors to win more games than him last year was Koufax. Slow grounder, foul, down the third base line. All the comforts of home at Shea Stadium for the coaches this year. Coaching lines this year, where in previous years, it was a dirt path that the coaches faced up and down. This year, they are facing on a painted green cork flooring type. It's very soft and very comfortable. Now, Selma steps off. It is particularly helpful. They have done the same thing, placed that cork flooring and then dyed it green to match the grass in the fungo circles. And for the coaches who are in that fungo circle for about an hour before the game, it's really a help. Foul ball, back toward our broadcasting booth, no play. And I thought for a moment our dandy-do statistician, Mr. Arthur Friedman, was going to get his first chance of the year. Not quite, just beyond his reach. We didn't hire Arthur for his ability to keep facts and figures. We got him for his glove play. He can handle those foul balls. Matthews on second, 2 men down. Got a 2-strike count on Joe Torre. Selma takes a long look. Now the set position. Here's the pitch. Blazing fastball inside. Moved him away from the plate. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dick Selma says, with me, everything has been opposite from the normal. He says, normally you'll see a big 6-foot, 200-pound pitcher who is throwing a lot of slow breaking stuff, getting him out on junk. And you ask about him, and I'll say, well, at one time he had a great fastball, but he came up with a bad arm and underwent an operation. 2 years ago, Selma underwent an operation. It didn't slow him up a bit. He still relies on speed. The 1-2 pitch. Curve outside and low, it's 2-2. One of the most interesting yarns concerning Dick Selma was the fact that 2 years ago, when he returned to his home in Fresno, California, unknown to the ball club and everybody else, he had his shoulder operated on. They didn't know it until he came to spring training and got on the rubbing table. And Gus Meis said, where'd you get that big scar on the back of your shoulder? Count 2-2 on Joe Torre. Now the pitch. Low and outside, and the string is out. Dick not getting the ball where he wants it so far. He walked Eddie Matthews on 3-2. Now it's gone 3-2 on Joe Torre. He was 3-2 on Henry Aaron. Matthews leads off second. The payoff delivery. Curve hit on the ground. Foul down the third base line. He narrowly missed an extra base hit. Kenny Boyer made a diving try to get it. It was foul ball. What a beautiful, beautiful day. Tomorrow will be a day off. The St. Louis Cardinals play at Shea Stadium Tuesday and Wednesday afternoons. Here's the pitch. Foul ball back over our broadcasting booth. When you get a fastball pitcher like Dick Selma on the mound, the fans who are seated behind home plate really get a shot at some souvenirs. So Selma, 3-2 once again. Choo-choo crossed behind the plate, signs for the next delivery. Now the pitch on the way. A fly ball hit deep to right field. Back goes Johnny Lewis. He's on the warning track. He's under it. Makes the catch. Well hit grabbed it back in front of the bullpen opening. No runs, no hits, one error, one left. And the score in the middle of the first inning. The Atlanta Braves nothing, and the New York Mets coming to bat. And now a word. So here's a song about the accordions of France. The music has a certain je ne sais quoi, like something else you'll hear about.
Le piano du pauvre, autour du cou, la chanson qui m'aura de Canito. Mais il est pas fou, elle lui rend bien, il est éclectique. Sonate java, concert au polka, même la musique. Le piano du pauvre, dans sa boîte à Bobard, tape un air si mauvais, en prenant pour moteur. Il a l'air grognon, il joue sur façon, il a la perverse. C'est qu'il est pas chien, et puis il faut bien faire marcher le commerce.
Maybe it's our French malt that gives Rheingold Extra Dry its special je ne sais quoi. But whatever it is, we must be doing something formidable.
Alors tu viens, oh, tu vas pas rester là tout seul toute la soirée. Alors viens.
Tony Cloninger is on the mound for the Atlanta Braves with Joe Torre behind the plate. As the Mets come on to hit now in their half of the first inning. The Braves defensively are playing Lee Thomas at first, Frank Boulding is the second baseman, Dennis Menke is short, and Eddie Matthews at third. Rico Carty in left field. Philippe Alou is in center. Around in right field, Henry Aaron. Yogi Berra on the coaching lines at first, and Whitey Herzog on the lines at third. The leadoff batter is Ron Hunt. Ron has had 1 for 7 in the first 2 ball games. Johnny Lewis is the on-deck batter, and then Ken Boyer. Next weekend, the Mets have a 3-game series, or a 4-game series, I should say, against the Braves in Atlanta. Blazing fastball high. Cloninger is a hard thrower. Next weekend, the Mets play the Braves Friday night in Atlanta. A day game on Saturday and a Sunday doubleheader a week from today. Ron Hunt falling away from that high inside fastball. It just barely ticked his bat if he was defending himself, so it was a strike. Big curve inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cloninger from Iron Station, North Carolina. Now the windup, here's the pitch. On the outside corner for a call strike, and Hunt did not like the call. For Tony Cloninger, he has a lifetime record against the New York Mets of 8 wins and 4 losses. Last year, he beat the Mets 4 times, lost 1. Braves swept the 9 games in Milwaukee last year. A fly ball into the air to center field. Philippe Alou just saunters in to be under it and puts it away for the out. 1 out, nobody on. Johnny Lewis coming up. Johnny played yesterday and went 0 for 3. He had quite a bit for a home run his first time up. The ball was caught right up against the fence, 396 feet out by Philippe Alou. Here's the pitch by Cloninger. Inside at the knees, 1 ball and no strikes. Ken Boyer, batting third in the order, is the on-deck hitter. Now the pitch underway. A ground ball hit toward the middle. A base hit by Johnny Lewis. Alou plays the ball back in. Johnny Lewis has single to center. Now Ken Boyer. Ken drove in the Mets' 3rd run in yesterday's ball game. Eddie Cranepool knocked in the first 2 with a 2-run homer in the first inning. Johnny Cloninger, it's not in time. Now Kenny Boyer steps out. At the end of one inning in Philadelphia, the Phillies 2 and the Reds 1. Joe Nussbaum pitching against Chris Short. Philadelphia took the lead on a 2-run homer by Richie Allen. Pittsburgh leading St. Louis 1-0 after 2.5. Nelson Briles for the Cardinals. Bob Beal for Pittsburgh. Long drive hit down the left field line by Boyer. It may go foul. Foul ball in the corner by a foot. So Kenny Boyer missed the double by less than a foot. That ball struck right at the base of the wall where the area is counted for the outfielders. Right at the base of the foul pole, and it was fouled by less than a foot. Long shot hit by Kenny Boyer. Now Johnny Lewis takes the lead off first. The outfield deep and around the left against Boyer. And the curve is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. In the National League this afternoon, the Cubs play the Dodgers on the West Coast at Dodger Stadium. The Astros and the Giants at Candlestick Park. Juan Marichal won his second game when he went all the way to beat the Astros yesterday. In the American League, the Yankees and the Orioles no score at the end of 1. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber. The Red Sox and the Cleveland Indians no score at the end of 2. Earl Wilson against Luis Tiant. Washington 2, Detroit 1 at the end of 3. McCormick for the Senators. Hank Gary for Detroit. The Angels and Twins have been rained out in Minnesota. Curve way outside. 2 balls and a strike. The only doubleheader in the major leagues today is at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Kansas City providing the opposition, and for the A's in the opening game, it will be former Yankee Roy Sheldon. For the White Sox, Johnny Broussard. Strike, and now Ken Boyer has something in his eye after he steps out of the batter's box to try and third. Cloninger, the right-hander, delivers to the plate. A high foul fly hit down the right field line. A long, long run for Henry Aaron, and it lands in the field box. Just out of play. A young fan seated in the first row of the field boxes far down the right field line has a butterfly net. And he was reaching over that railing trying to get a play with that butterfly net. Now it's 2-2 on Ken Boyer. Will lead off first. Curve is lined in the air deep. The left field. Back goes Carty by the wall. It's over his head. Off the wall for a base hit. Johnny Lewis is reaching third. He's being waved home. Here comes the thrower. Won't be in time. The run is in. Was waving the sign, go, 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 to Johnny Lewis, and he came in to score. Eddie Crane drew up, and the curve is low, ball 1. So Kenny Boyer now has 4 hits at 8 times his bat, and has knocked 3 runs in. Wonderful start for the great third baseman. Eddie Crane had a 2-run homer. In yesterday's ball game, that was the big blow. Eddie's had 3 for 4 in the first 2 games. Nets are up against the ace of the Braves staff, Tony Cloninger. Now the pitch by Tony. Foul ball off the leg of Eddie Cranepool. Boy, that one hurt. It came off Eddie's bat and struck him down about the ankle. Cloninger in the last 2 years has won 43 games. He won 24 last year and 19 the year before. He's just 25 years old and has already won 67 games in the major leagues. Eddie Cranepool taking time now, trying to shake the pain out of his leg after being hit by that foul ball. Cloninger now has 4.5 years with the Braves. He came up as one of those bright young prospects. He really has blossomed. Last year, he won 24. He lost only 11. Ken Boyer on second. The Mets lead 1-0. The pitch to Cranepool. A breaking ball in the dirt out in front of home plate, blocked by Joe Torre. The count is even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The on-deck batter. Cloninger retired the first hitter, Ron Hunt, on a fly ball to center. But Johnny Lewis then hit a ground single up the middle and scored from first on Boyer's long double to left. A swing and a miss. He struck him out. Eddie Cranepool goes down swinging, 2 men away. That brings up Dick Stewart. Dick has had 1 for 5 in the first 2 games, a single. Toward left center against Dick Stewart. Frank Bowling, the second baseman, shaded over toward the middle. Tony Cloninger in the set position. Here's his pitch to Stewart, and it's popped up in foul territory over by the dugout. No play for Lee Thomas. It will be in the crowd. Manager Wes Westrom is going to wait until tomorrow to name his pitcher for the opening game of the Cardinal series. It will be either Jack Fisher or Rob Gardner. When Pittsburgh defeated the Cardinals yesterday at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, it broke quite a string. The Cardinals had downed the Pirates 18 straight times at Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. Had it not been for St. Louis, Pittsburgh could have won the pennant last year. But the Cardinals have really had the whammy on the Pirates. Now the pitch by Cloninger. A towering fly ball that's going foul down the left field line and over into the crowd. Total of 220 home runs. Cloninger's 2-strike pitch. Curve outside and low. He tried to get him to go for a bad ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And as all baseball fans remember, there was a time in Stewart's life at the minor leagues playing in Lincoln, Nebraska when he had 66 home runs in 1 year. He drove in 158 runs that year. 1-2 delivery. Low and outside, it's 2-2. When Dick was playing in Pittsburgh, he was in a real tough ballpark for home runs. The most home runs Dick has hit in 1 year. He hit 42 his first year with the Red Sox after being traded by the Pirates. following year, he hit 33 with the Red Sox, and last year with the Phillies, he hit 28. The 2-2 delivery. A swing and a miss on a high, hard one. He struck him out. The Mets take the lead in the first inning. On a single by Johnny Lewis and a run-scoring double by Ken Boyer. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, 1 left. At the end of 1 inning, the score, the New York Mets 1, the Atlanta Braves nothing. Right here, let's pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
This is WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from Shea Stadium, and today's rubber game of the 3-game series between the Mets and the Braves. The Cardinals will be here at Shea Stadium for day games Tuesday and Wednesday. The Mets then will embark on their first extensive road trip of the young season. They open their trip in Atlanta next Friday night. When they return, a very attractive homestand starting with the first night game of the new home season. Leo DeRocher and the Cubs in town on Friday night, the 6th of May. Tickets for the Cardinal series Tuesday and Wednesday on the up-and-coming homestand starting with Chicago on May 6th. Are on sale 7 days a week at the advanced sale window at Shea Stadium. In Midtown Manhattan, Mets tickets are available at Grand Central Station at the foot of the 42nd Street and Vanderbilt Avenue ramp. At Penn Station and the Long Island Railroad waiting room. On Long Island, the Mets have a ticket booth at Macy's in the Walt Whitman Shopping Center in Huntington. In addition, reservations for box and reserve seats may be made at all Howard Clothes stores during regular store hours and also at any branch of the Manufacturers Hanover Trust Company during regular banking hours. Tickets can be obtained by mail by writing Ticket Manager, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York, at 25 cents to cover mailing costs. Rico Carty is up against Dick Salma, and he fouled the first one off. Here's the pitch on the way. And the breaking ball is kicked off the bat and into the mid of 2-2 Coleman, a 2-strike count. Lee Thomas on deck, and then Frank Bowling. 2 years ago, as a rookie, Rico Carty hit .330. Last year, he was hampered with back trouble. He now is physically sound again. Up high on an off-speed pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dick Salma was having a little control trouble in the first inning. He went 3 and 2 on 3 consecutive hitters. Now the windup by Salma. Here's his pitch. A ground ball to shortstop. Roy McMillan digs it out of the dirt and takes the short to get Rico Carty. 1 out, nobody on. Say, right about now is a good time to lean back, light up a cool, and taste the most refreshing coolness you can get in any cigarette. Lee Thomas, the first baseman, a left-hand hitter. They play him around to right, and a foul ball is hit back over the screen, out of play. And pitched by Salma. Ground ball smacked to second. Hunt is right in front of it. Picks it up, throws the first, 2 down. So Dick Salma with his breaking stuff has Rico Carty and Lee Thomas hitting the ball on the ground. Now the hitter is Frank Bowling. Dick Salma late last year started 4 ball games for the Mets. He beat the Braves, beat the Cardinals. He lost to the Pirates. It's over at the knees, strike 1 call. Ground ball hit right back to the mound off of a slow curve. Salma to Stewart, the side's out. And that's quite an inning for Dick Salma. No runs, no hits, no errors, nothing left. At the end of an inning and a half, the Mets won, the Braves nothing.
It's the top of the evening to you when you tune in WGY. The top's in information, the top's in entertainment. At 6 o'clock, WGY brings you the complete news. 15 minutes of national, international, and up-to-the-minute local news that has shaped the day. At 6:25, it's time to visit Kelly's Corner. the good talk and relaxing listening. The quiet charm of Kelly's Corner is compounded of music that blends easily with intimate dining and unusual stories that are interspersed through the show in Leon Kelly's own inimitable way. Does the title Tuxedo Junction bring on a nostalgic mood? Then don't miss Kelly's Club at 8:05 on WGY. If you lived through the big band era or you're one of the younger ones who have started the big revival, this is the listening for you. Leon Kelly knows his way among the big bands intimately and brings you the best of a never-to-be-duplicated time. Make every evening exciting listening time. Tune in, WGY.
Will be up against Tony Kleininger. Kleininger winds. Down comes his pitch. And his fastball is taken high. 1 ball and no strike. Mets are out in front on a run-scoring double by Ken Boyer. Ken will be in action against his old teammates, the St. Louis Cardinals, right here at Shea on Tuesday and Wednesday. Up on the left side of the diamond. Menke, traveling the edge of the outfield grass, makes the catch in fair territory near the left field line. One out, nobody on. The hitter, Jim Hickman. Jim has 1 hit and 7 times at bat in the first 2 ball games. Kleininger fires, and it's popped high into the air. A foul ball just outside first. Under the ball is Lee Thomas. He has it easily for the second out. So Hickman fouls out. 2 outs, nobody on it. Brings up Roy McMillan. Max, first time up in the game. He has 1 for 6 in the first 2 games against the Braves. Here's the wind-up in the pitch by Kleininger, and his fastball is low, 1 ball and no strike. That Kleininger is really strong. In the Braves' opening game in Atlanta, he went all the way, and losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates in 13 innings, he got beat on a home run by Willie Stargell. Next pitch on the way, little high to McMillan, 2 balls and no strikes. Banners, of course, are a big part of the scene here at Shea Stadium, where baseball is so much fun. However, they are not allowed to be draped out in fair territory for obvious reasons. Outside and low, it's ball 3, 3-0. Fastball is low, 1 ball and no strike. That Kleininger is really strong. In the Braves' opening game in Atlanta, he went all the way, and losing to the Pittsburgh Pirates in 13 innings, he got beat on a home run by Willie Stargell. Next pitch on the way, little high to McMillan, 2 balls and no strikes. Banners, of course, are a big part of the scene here at Shea Stadium, where baseball is so much fun. However, they are not allowed to be draped out in fair territory for obvious reasons. Outside and low, it's ball 3, 3-0. Delivery. McMillan takes all the way, and it's in there for a strike, 3-1. Braves have 3 night games in Philadelphia before they return home. Now a swing and a foul tip into the middle of Joe Torre, and the count goes to 3-2. To the Atlanta players, Well, they'll tell you they simply have not played enough games in the new stadium in Atlanta yet to be sure how the park is going to be for hitters. Foul ball hit back upstairs and out of play. So far, it has not seemed to be a hitter's ballpark. The ball may carry a little bit better when the weather warms up. 3-2 on Roy McMillan. Cloninger winds. Here's his pitch. Too high, ball 4, and Max gets a walk. So a 2-out walk to Roy McMillan in the last of the second inning. And Dick Selma comes up to hit. You can bet Cloninger hated to walk McMillan. He would like to have had that pitcher leading off the next inning. Selma, who has real good running speed, batting left against right-hander Cloninger. He lets it go. It's outside and high. Ball 1. Let's have a day off tomorrow, and a lot of the ball players are planning to spend a leisurely day with Larry Bernard at his day camp out in the Dix Hills area of Huntington. 1 ball, 1 strike. Is in the on-deck circle. Now the pitch by Cloninger. Selma tries to run up and drag a bunt. Fouls hips it, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dick wanting to put his speed to work and try and run his way on base. Roy McMillan fills the lead off first. The pitch to Selma, a swing and a miss. He struck him out. Got him with a curveball. For Cloninger, his 3rd strikeout. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. 2 innings complete. The New York Mets 1 and the Atlanta Braves 0. The 1966 New York Mets yearbook is now available. The cover cartoon, again drawn by the famed sports cartoonist Willard Mullen, features pictures of the old professor, Casey Stengel, the new manager, Wes Westrom, pictures and biographical sketches and the stories of all the members of the coaching staff as well as all the players. You'll enjoy thumbing through it from time to time and getting more knowledge about the members of the New York Mets. You can get your copy by mail by sending in 50 cents, plus 15 cents for handling, to Mets Yearbook, Shea Stadium of Flushing, New York. It will be helpful in ordering your Mets Yearbook by mail if you are sure to include your zip code. The address again, Mets Yearbook, Shea Stadium of Flushing, New York. The yearbook is 50 cents plus 15 cents for handling, and it's available now. Braves come on to hit against Dick Selma in the 3rd inning, and on this bright, sunny afternoon, a fellow who always has a bright, sunny smile, Mr. Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Bob, and hi there, everyone. Dennis Menke, the leadoff for the Atlanta Braves. The first pitch by Selma, hard fastball. It's in about better high over the inside corner for a called strike. Menke batting for the first time in the ballgame, hitting 167 for the year, 2 hits and 12 times up. And Selma back with a fastball that's low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. It'll be Dennis Menke, the pitcher Tony Cloninger, and Philippe Lou here against Selma in the top of the 3rd. Mets leading by a score of 1-0. Only 1 base runner against Selma. That was Eddie Matthews. He walked in the 1st. And the 1-1 delivery is inside, driving Menke away from the plate. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Mets 1 run, 2 hits. Braves no runs, no hits. Ground ball foul on by the 3rd base coach. That evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mets have Chitu Coleman catching, Dick Stewart at 1st base, Ron Hunt at 2nd base, Roy McMillan at shortstop, and Ken Boyer at 3rd. In the outfield, Eddie Kranepool in left field, Jim Hickman in center field, and Johnny Lewis in right. And Selma with a 2-2 delivery, a swing and a foul down in the dirt. Ball rolling over toward the on-deck circle and picked up by Tony Cloninger. Count stays at 2-2. Coleman sending the signs out to Selma. Dick with a record of 2-1 last year in the major leagues. His 2-2 pitch line to left center field, a base hit over the top of the head of Roy McMillan. Eddie Crane pulled over to cut it off. His throw-in stops Menke at first base. So the Braves have their first hit in the ball game and a base runner at first base with no one out in the top of the third. And that'll bring up the pitcher, Tony Cloninger. Batter checking with Rieslinger, the third base coach, as to whether or not he'll be bunting. The Mets are looking for the bunt. Tony's 0 for 3 in the season. Ken Boyer in close. Stewart charging. The ball bunted out toward the first base side, foul. So Menke from back to second base to first base. And a 1-strike count on Cloninger. At the end of 3, Philadelphia 2, Cincinnati 1. Nuttall against Chris Short. At the end of 3, Pittsburgh 3, St. Louis nothing. And Pittsburgh finally beat the Cardinals at home after losing 18 straight games to the Cardinals in Forbes Field. That tied a major league record. That game yesterday. Now Pittsburgh ahead 3-0 after 3. Nelson Briles against Bob Veal. Ali and Matty Alou home run. Chicago scheduled against the Dodgers in Los Angeles and Houston at San Francisco. 1-strike count on Tony Cloninger. Selma sets up again. Now backs off the pitching rubber. Ron Hunt coming over from second base. And evidently a play got fouled up there. Ron was all the way over at first base. Stewart had left first base for a pickoff play there. Now they set up again. And the pitch to Cloninger. A pitch out, but Choo-Choo Coleman falls down as he tries to move around to catch the ball. No chance for a play either way. Strike count. In the American League after 2, no score. Yankees at Baltimore. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber. At the end of 3 1/2, no score. Boston at Cleveland. Earl Wilson against Louis Tiant. Now the 1-1 pitch. Bunted out toward the mound. A chance at second. A look there. A throw there. It is in time. Good play by Roy McMillan, taking a throw that was off near the shortstop side of the bag. And Roy made a good shift of his feet to make the play and stay in the bag. 2-6, and a fielder's choice for Cloninger as he exchanges at first base with the base runner there. And the Mets have their first out here in the third. They lead 1-0. Mets now 3 times in the last 2 games have got the lead man on run attempts by the Atlanta Braves. That'll bring up Felipe Alou. Lou grounded out to shortstop his first time up. Not being held out at first. The first pitch is in. A fastball at the knees, a called strike. At the end of 4 innings, Washington 2, Detroit 1. Detroit has yet to lose one this year. McCormick going for the Senators against Hank Aguirre. Kaline a home run the second with no one on. He won the game for Detroit yesterday with a home run. California and Minnesota rained out. Kansas City and Chicago, the White Sox lead 1-0 after 1. Next pitch back is low at the knees in there. Called strike 2. Sheldon pitching for the Athletics against Johnny Bazard for Chicago. And that's a scheduled doubleheader, the only one in the major league. Right here, the Mets lead 1-0, 1 out in the top of the third. Braves with a runner at first base. Chris Pelicutis checking the ball out. Tosses it out of play, puts a new one in. Strike count. Batting at .353. 6 hits and 17 times up this year. And the next pitch to the right-hand batter. Curveball topped out in front of the plate. Picked up by someone who has to go to first. He does in time for the out. Moving down to second base, Tony Cloninger. So the Mets get their second out here in the top of the third as they lead 1-0. And the batter coming up is Eddie Matthews. Today, when you pull the tab on the new Rheingold Extra Dry Chug-a-Mug, the top comes off with a hiss that sounds like the good Rheingold flavor inside. 6 12-ounce mugs to the carton. And you'll find them in the Chug-a-Mug display at your local store. Eddie Matthews batting for the first time officially. He walked on a 3-1 pitch his first time up. Eddie 4 times has led the National League in getting walks in the season. He has hit 477 Major League home runs. His first pitch is high. It's ball 1. Home run total in 1 year, 47. Twice has led the National League in home runs. 1 ball, no strike count to the left-hand batter. Next pitch is taken high. It's ball 2. Eddie started the swing, just held up in time. It's 2 balls, no strike. Tony Cloninger at second base, representing the tying run. 2 men away, top of the 3rd. Working for the Mets. His 2-0 pitch is inside. It's ball 3. So Matthews has the count at 3-0. Identical situation when he batted the first time. He worked the count to 3-0. Selma came in to get a strike and then walked him with the next pitch. Right here, a tough situation. Hank Aaron on deck. Braves are loaded with power. It's no easy pickings for a pitcher. 3 balls, no strikes. Matthews swinging away and fouling the ball out of play. Expect to have any of these hitters taking the 3-0 with 2 men away. They're all capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. Count now, 3 balls, 1 strike. Selma sets up again, and his next delivery, fastball hit the center field. Going to his right and back to the warning track is Jim Hickman. He has room. He makes the catch. Long fly ball to center field, and Hickman hauls it in to retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left to score at the end of 2 1/2. The Mets won, the Braves nothing. Did you ever stop to think of how many lonesome travelers there are here and yonder, and how thirsty they get?
Well, I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I am a lonely and a lonesome traveler. I've been traveling on. I travel here and then
From California to New York, the American folk singer travels here and yonder, carrying with him the music of the whole world and its peoples. And sometimes when the traveling gets thirsty, he puts down his guitar and accompanies himself with a cold beer, maybe Rheingold. And in New York City, where more songs and travelers stop than anywhere else in the world, more people buy Rheingold Extra Dry than any other beer. How come? Maybe it's the Oregon hops we use. Who knows? But we must be doing something right.
It's the bottom half of the 3rd. The Mets leading 1-0 in the final game of this 3-game series. Both teams have won a game. And Tony Cloninger just starting his warm-ups here for his action against the Mets. Mets leading 1-0. While we have a few seconds here, we'll bring you up to date on the NBA playoffs out at Los Angeles at the end of the first period. First quarter, the score is Boston 34. The Lakers are 20, 34-20 in that game. First of the final playoff. And in the National Hockey League, at the end of the first period there, Detroit against Chicago, and it's 1-0 in favor of Detroit. Red Wings leading the Blackhawks 1-0. Cloninger all set to go. He'll be working to the top of the batting order. Ron Hunt batting for the 2nd time, then Johnny Lewis and Ken Boyer. Mets 1 run, 2 hits. The Braves, no runs and 1. Mets got a run in the first. After Ron Hunt flied out to center field, Johnny Lewis singled and scored, and Ken Boyer's doubled. First pitch to Hunt by Cloninger, laying right through the middle, a base hit. Ron Hunt rounding at first base, stopping there as the throw comes on in. Ron Hunt on a high slider, lined that ball right through the middle, right on by Tony Cloninger. The Mets have a base runner with no one out here in the bottom half of the 3rd. That'll bring up Johnny Lewis. Single through the middle, his first time up. Base hit for Ron, his 2nd this year, 9 times up. Johnny 1 for 4 in the season, a left-hand batter. Throw to to first base. Hunter was only a couple of steps off, back easily. Cloninger back on top of the pitching rubber. But time call as Johnny Lewis steps out. Time in, Lewis sets, and Cloninger gets ready. His pitch, curveball that breaks down too low. It's ball one. Mets lead 1-0. Going out, we're in the bottom half of the third. Eddie Matthews in close, looking for possible sacrifice. Also guarding down the line. Throw to first base again, not close. Hunt back easily. 1 ball, no strike count. And a throw to first base, this one much closer. Hunt has to move back in on his belly. He gets in the head of the tag. Again. And his pitch to the plate is taken high. Fastball missing, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes on Johnny Lewis. Now Tony with the sign, a throw to first base. Again, Hunt back easily. He's not taking any chances. He's really working on Hunt. Now the pitch, foul ball off a fastball back over the top of the screen. First strike against Johnny Lewis. The count 2 balls, 1 strike. Baltimore out in the bottom half of the third. Still no score. The Yankees playing there. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber. 1 strike on Johnny Lewis. Now Hunt off the bag at first, drawing another throw. This time he dives back in, beats the tag. Lee Thomas, the first baseman for the Braves this year. At second base, Frank Bowling, and shortstop Dennis Menke. At third base, Eddie Matthews. Now the 2-1 pitch. High at ball 3. So Cloninger trying to work on Ron Hunt at first base, falling behind on Johnny Lewis, the hitter. 3 balls and 1 strike. Bottom half of the third, the Mets leading 1-0. 3 balls, 1 strike. Cloninger with the pitch. It's high, ball 4. Moving on down to second base on the second walk of the game, given up by Cloninger to Johnny Lewis. Mets now with runners at first and second, and Ken Boyer coming up. It was Ken's double off the left field wall that scored the Mets' first run. Now Ken batting for the second time. He's had 4 hits and 8 times up this year. With his first pitch is running out toward the plate, picked up by the pitcher. The throw to third base is in time. So Boyer hitting with no one away, and runners at first and second attempting to sacrifice the runners along. Run the ball back toward the mound. Cloninger in a hurry, coming up with the ball, and he had a fairly easy play at third for the 4th place there. Braves getting their first out here in the bottom half of the third. Now the batter will be Eddie Cranepool. Eddie struck out his first time up. Johnny Lewis at second base, Boyer at first. The first pitch to Cranepool, hit on the ground, through the hole, a base hit. Johnny Lewis coming around from third, being sent in. No play there. The throw over to third base is in time, and Boyer slides in safely. Now an argument by the Braves. About the call at third base by the third base umpire, Ken Burkhardt. The this year with a single to right field. Mets now leading by a score of 2-0, and while the argument persists, we'll pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WHM 1050. This is WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
Ralph Kiner along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from Shea Stadium on a pleasant afternoon for baseball. The Mets leading 2-0. They have runners at first and third, and the batter coming up is Dick Stewart. Argument over now. The players back in their positions, and Bobby Bragan back in the dugout. Bragan and Ken Burkhardt had a pretty good set day yesterday, arguing about the pitches by Jack Hamilton. Clay Carroll warming up in the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves, along with Herb Tephoff, left-hander and a right. Dick Stewart, the batter. Cloninger sets up the appeal play for on at third base about whether or not the runner tagged third base coming around. Johnny Lewis moving from second to home in the single by Eddie Greenbull, but the umpire saying he touched third, so the play does not go on. Now Cloninger back looking for the sign. Infield plane back, one man out, the bottom half of the third. And the pitch to Stewart is taken inside, ball one. Dick struck out on a pitch that was up in his eyes his last time up. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. Had one hit and 6 times up this year. One ball, no strikes. The next pitch to Stewart is hit in the air, foul, out of play. At 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets with a run in, and that run to go with the one in the first. They lead 2-0. Runners at first and third. Cloninger back to Stewart, and a slider fouled off the right side. Ball bouncing against the railing and going back into the stand. The count 1-2. Just kept working its way back up. It was sliced off on the line toward the Mets dugout. Went over the top of it and bounced on up through the railing on into the lower back part of the lower deck. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Moyer at third, Painful at first. The pitch hit down to third. Chance for 2. Matthews doesn't take it. He throws home in time. A good play by Joe Shea to make the tag on Ken Boyer. With the option of going around the horn for the double play, decided he couldn't make it that way and made a good play home. And an argument there by Wes Westrom on the call by Chris Palakudis. Perfect throw by Matthews and a good tag by Joe Torre. Moving down to second base behind the play, Eddie Greenbull. On at first base on the fielder's choice is Dick Stewart. That'll bring up Choo-Choo Coleman. Popped to short his first time up. A left-hand batter. 1 for 4 in the year. And the first pitch is hit in the air, foul, out of play. Strike 1. Matthews' decision on whether or not to go for the double play or make the play home was probably made by the ball. It was not hit too hard, and it took a hop over toward the foul line, which would have made the throw on down to second base very difficult. He then took the option of coming on home, and he made a good play. Coleman waiting now, taking, and the pitch is in. A curveball breaking over the outside. It's strike 2. Strike count on the left-hand batter. Eddie Greenbull at second base. Dick Stewart at first. 2 men out, bottom half of the third. The Mets leading 2-0. Tony Cloninger working for the Braves. His next delivery way outside, ball 1. 3.5, Philadelphia 2, Cincinnati 1. Nuxall against Short. Allen a home run for the 2 runs for the Phillies. That came in the first. At the end of 4, Pittsburgh 3, the Cardinals nothing. Nelson Browse against Bob Beal. 2 home runs in that game for the Pirates. Alley and Matty Alou. Chicago to L.A., Houston and San Francisco not underway. Yankees pick up a run in the top of the 4th. They lead Baltimore 1-0. 1-2 pitch. It's bounced out in front of the plate. Coming off the mound is Tony Cloninger. He falls down, throws underhanded to first base in time. And now another argument. Yogi Berra right on top of the first base umpire. Bob Engel. Here comes Wes Westbrook. And they are arguing extremely strongly about that call. After the play at first base, the first baseman, Lee Thomas, threw on home. He thought that the runner was safe. Westrom still arguing on the call. A long, hard inning. The Mets pick up a run on 2 hits. There were no errors. 2 men were left on. And the score at the end of 3. The Mets 2, the Braves nothing. And Wes Westrom still arguing very strongly with the first base umpire, Bob Engel. Say, what do Mexican street magicians do when they get thirsty? Listen and you'll find out.
You can hear this song in the streets of Ciudad Madero in Mexico. And when the strolling musicians raise a thirst, they'll stop for something cool and refreshing, like Cerveza Corona, the beer numero uno in Ciudad Madero. You can find the same song and the same thirst north of the border. And in New York City, too, the musicians often call for numero uno, Rheingold Extra Dry. In fact, in New York City, where you can hear more kinds of music than anywhere else in the world, more people buy Rheingold than any other beer. How come? Maybe it's our natural combination. Well, whatever it is, we must be doing something right.
Stepping in now, the argument over. The Mets leading 2-0 as the Braves come up here in the top of the 4th. Dick Selma working for the Mets has given up no runs, allowed 1 hit. He has walked 1, struck out none. Hank Aaron batting for the 2nd time. He flied out to left his first time up. He takes the curve, blown away, ball 1. If the call had gone the other way at first base, the Mets would have picked up a run. But the call made at first base. An out call, the Mets lost it. Next pitch, a change curve. 2 low, it's ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Tony Cloninger made a good play throwing. As he stumbled and was going down, he still got the ball to first base with a good throw. Here's the 2-0 pitch. 2 low, ball 3, and Hank Aaron gets out in front. 3 balls, no strikes. It'll be Hank Aaron, Joe Torre, and Rico Cardi here in the 4th for the Braves. 3-0 delivery taken in for a called strike. Hank Aaron taking all the way. Leadoff batter here in the 4th. Baltimore out in the bottom half of the 4th. The Yankees lead 1-0 after 4. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber. Next pitch is over the outside corner. Fastball through, strike 2. Count on Hank Aaron. Hank 3 for 19 this year. 2 runs batted in. Next pitch is out toward right field foul. Out of play. Count stays at 3-2, and on that one, Hank Aaron broke his back. In the National League at the end of 3.5, the Phillies 2, the Reds 1. That's all against Short. Jim Maloney won yesterday with a strong performance, striking out 13. Reds picking up their first win. It's Nuxall and Short in this one. At the end of 4.5, Pittsburgh 3, St. Louis nothing. Pittsburgh finally won a ball game against the Cardinals at home after losing 18 consecutive games. Pitch is high, it's ball 4, and Hank Aaron walks. So Dick Selma walks the leadoff batter here in the 4th, and it brings up Joe Torre. issued by Selma. He walked Eddie Matthews in the first. Joe batting for the second time. Hit a 3-2 fastball to deep right field his first time up. Ball caught by Johnny Lewis. First pitch outside, ball 1. Mets leading 2-0. The Braves with no one out in the top of the fourth, the runner at first. Set position. A look at first. His next delivery is it's in the air to right. Johnny Lewis starts in and stops and bats up. It's a high fly ball. He makes the catch. Hank Aaron, who was tagged up, draws the throw as Lewis throws into second. One away in the top of the fourth. The batter coming up, Rico Cardi. Rico grounded out to short his first time up. He's 3 for 17 this year. The Braves, no runs, 1 hit. Hank Aaron at first base with a good lead. Here's the pitch. He goes. The pitch is taken. The throw down at second base is in time. A perfect throw. The tag made by Ron Hunt. He's out. It took a perfect throw to get Hank Aaron. And Ron Hunt completed the play by making the tag. So the Braves running as they trail 2-0. The pitch was in for a called strike. Next pitch to Cardi is taken outside. A curveball missing. 1 ball, 1 strike. The pitch back is too low, and inside it's ball 2. 2-1 on Rico Cardi. Hank Aaron last year had 24 stolen bases. He's a good base runner. His highest total 31. Every year for the last 3, he's been over 20. The 2-1 delivery, foul. Back in the screen, strike 2. That evens out at 2-2 with 2 out in the top of the fourth. And the Mets leading by a 2-0 score. And the next delivery missing for ball 3. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch just outside. It's ball 4. So Selma walks his second man in this inning. Cardi getting first base. The 3rd walk in the ballgame given up by Selma. And now with 2 men away, the batter will be the first baseman, Lee Thomas. To second base his first time up, and the first pitch. It's deep to right. It's going, and it is gone. Lee Thomas with his first home run of the year. A long drive to deep right field, tying up the ball game at 2-2. He got hold of a fastball, and there was no doubt about it. Scoring in front, Rico Cardi, and it's a brand new ball game. That is the 3rd home run of the year for the Braves. They had 2 by Joe Torre down in the new ballpark in Atlanta, getting their first on the road. And it was a big one. The next pitch to the next batter, Frank Boeing, is topped out to the pitcher's mound, taken in 1 hop by Dick Selma. So the first base is in time to reach out their side. But in the inning, the Braves scored 2 runs on 1 hit. No errors, a walk, and no one left on base. And the score at the end of 3.5, the Braves 2, the Mets 2.
Drive the car you planned on, not the one that worked out. Sauterne Gold, Sahara Beige, Park Green, Candy Apple Red, FM, V8, 6, automatic, 2, 4 doors, buckets. Get it at Orange.
Families in 85 cities, towns, and villages in New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut drive orange Fords. Come in for a test drive today. Bring the family. Get the big deal on your choice at the Big O. 350 new cars ready. The biggest selection upstate. Your old car is enough for down payment. Credit can be arranged at Orange with your bank or financial institution. What color orange Ford do you want? 24 colors to choose from. Go Orange Motors, 799 Central Avenue, Albany, for a good automobile. Your Fords at Orange. You can plan on it.
Bottom half of the fourth inning. The score tied at 2-2. The Braves scoring 2 in the top of the fourth, and the 2-run home run by Lee Thomas at first base. That's coming up. They'll have Jim Hickman, Roy McMillan, and Dick Soma as their first three batters. Jim batting for the second time, saw one pitch his first time up and fouled out to first. And he gets a curve on his first pitch this time. It's in for a called strike. Jim was 1 hit and 8 times up this year. Pitch back is line to left, a base hit. Coming over, Rico Carty. He takes it on the second half, and Hickman holds at first. So the Mets with a score at 2-2 get their lead batter at first base, and that brings up Roy McMillan. Stepping in, Roy walked his first time up. So he officially has no times at bat. 1 hit and 6 times up this year. Tie ball game. And the first pitch to Roy, a pitch out, it's ball 1. Braves looking for the hit and run play. Pitching out, trying to break up the chance. But it was not on. Roy now checks at third base with Whitey Herzog. Now Roy not sure this time. Steps out of the batter's box again. That puts him back on again. 1 ball, no strike count. Time in, Roy back in. Throw to first base. And it's away from the first baseman. Goes to the stands. And Hickman goes down to second base in the air by Tony Cloninger. Up now. Dick Soma threw one away earlier. Now Tony Cloninger. That's with the go-ahead run at second base now with no one out. And a new situation going for them. Here's the 1-0 delivery. It's inside, ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Shaded toward right field. In this spot, Roy tries to go to right field. And the 2-0 delivery. It's high. Ball 3. Cloninger behind. 3-0 on Roy McMillan. On deck batter, Dick Soma. High score 2-2. The Mets with Jim Hickman as a base runner at second base with no one out in the bottom half of the fourth. And the next pitch, high and inside, ball 4. Third walk given up by Cloninger. That puts runners at first and second base and brings Eddie Matthews over for discussion. Dick Soma now stepping up. Mets have some action in their bullpen, just in case they would want to go for a pinch hitter. Gordon Richardson and Darryl Sutherland. Also action in the Milwaukee's bullpen. Should say in the Atlanta's bullpen. Clay Carroll warming up there. A play on. Here's the bunt attempt. It's foul. And the ball goes out of play. The Atlanta Braves pulling their switch play with a bunt situation in order. The third baseman charging right on top of the plate. The shortstop, who normally covers at second base, going over to third base for the fourth play there. and the second baseman going to first base, leaving the whole middle of the infield open. But the Braves sure that the bunt would be on, and that way they would be in a position to pick up a double play on the fourth play at third with a return throw on to first. One strikeout. The ball is fouled just out of the reach of the infielders. Now, bunt out in front of the plate. A good one. No play but the first base. It's there in time, and the runners move up. Once again, the Braves put their switch play on, but it couldn't help them. A perfect bunt by Dick Selma out in front of the plate. It was picked up by Eddie Matthews, but he had no play at all except at first base. He went there to pick up the out, and the Mets have runners now at second and third. If you're scoring, the play went 5-4. Bowling covering at first base. Now with one away, runners at second and third. The infield is brought in. Ron Hunt, the batter. And the first pitch to Ron. It's fouled out of left field line, going over the left fielder, Rico Carty, and he can't get to it. Ball bouncing on one bounce into the stand. In the bullpen for the Braves, a right-hander, Carroll warming up with Herb Hippoff. Clay Carroll and Herb Hippoff warming up in the bullpen. And now Bobby Bragan out to the mound. Long foul ball by Ron Hunt, bringing Bobby Bragan out to the pitcher's mound. It's a short trip. Bragan now going back. There's a new rule in effect in the National League. Bragan now cannot go back out to the mound and take his pitcher out. He has to lead him in. This is to stop the stalling of a pitcher being left out there while the manager goes back in the dugout and then goes back out to give a pitcher time to warm up in the bullpen. Yesterday's ball game, the St. Louis Cardinals evidently forgot about the rule. Red Changes went out to take his pitcher out the second time in the inning and had to leave him in, and they played the game under protest. One strikeout on Ron Hunt. In the bullpen for the Braves, a right-hander, Carroll warming up with Herb Hippoff. Clay Carroll and Herb Hippoff warming up in the bullpen. And now Bobby Bragan out to the mound. Long foul ball by Ron Hunt, bringing Bobby Bragan out to the pitcher's mound. It's a short trip. Bragan now going back. There's a new rule in effect in the National League. Bragan now cannot go back out to the mound and take his pitcher out. He has to lead him in. This is to stop the stalling of a pitcher being left out there while the manager goes back in the dugout and then goes back out to give a pitcher time to warm up in the bullpen. Yesterday's ball game, the St. Louis Cardinals evidently forgot about the rule. Red Changes went out to take his pitcher out the second time in the inning and had to leave him in, and they played the game under protest. One strikeout on Ron Hunt. Now the windup in the pitch. It's 2-0 for ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets with the score tied at 2-2 with runners at second and third. One man out in the bottom half of the fourth. Tony Cronninger working to Ron Hunt. He gets the sign, goes into the windup, and the pitch is hit out toward right field. Loops out there, charging Hank Aaron. He'll get to it. Hickman tagged up at third base, holds there on the short fly ball as Aaron's throw comes on in. So the Braves pick up their second out here in the bottom half of the fourth. Both runners holding at second and third, and that'll bring up Johnny Lewis. That ball is a looping line drive that was hit to shallow right field. Hank Aaron got to it and then got the ball in a hurry. Joe Torre now out the top with Tony Cronninger. Johnny singled through the middle his first time up and walked his second. He has scored the 2 runs that the Mets have. It's a tie ball game, 2-2. Lewis, the left-hand batter, and Tony Cronninger with his first pitch. much time, so Johnny Lewis steps out of the batter's box. Johnny taking a lot of time before getting back in. 1 strike count on Johnny Lewis. Now he gets back in, a new set of signs. And Cloninger into the windup. His next delivery, a curve again. This one too low. Count goes to 1-1. Strike. Cloninger reading the signs once again. And again into the windup. A 1-1 pitch, a changeup. A swing and a miss, strike 2. He really pulls the string. So Tony with a change of pace getting out in front. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jim Hickman at third base. Roy McMillan at second. A single and a walk. Putting runners at second and third after the sacrifice by Dick Selma. And at 1-2, the next delivery. Curveball swung on a miss, strike 3, and that retires aside. A good curve by Cloninger. It's his 4th strikeout, and it was a big one. In the inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error, a walk, and 2 men left on base. But now, once again, here's Bob Murphy.
The Mets return from their road trip, which opens next weekend in Atlanta. They'll be tackling the Chicago Cubs, managed by the colorful Leo DeRocher. Leo back in the big leagues as the manager after an absence of some 11 years. Leo has a good thump in that Chicago Cubs batting order with Billy Williams, Ernie Fano, and Ernie Banks in the middle of the order, and he feels that he has 4 good, solid starting pitchers. By the time the Cubs get here for the first night game of the home season on Friday night, May 6th. Leo should have a pretty good line on his ball club and know what moves he has to make. Incidentally, in that Cubs series, when the Mets return home, it's the first night game on Friday night, May 6th. A Ladies' Day game on Saturday the 7th. And then on Sunday the 8th, we have our first Shea Stadium doubleheader of the year. The Mets and Cubs in a big twin bill. That's College Day here at Shea Stadium. And a special section of reserve seats are being made available to student bodies, fraternities, sororities, or faculties. Your school song will be played by Jane Jarvis on the Thomas organ, and your group will be welcomed on the giant message board. Dennis Menke leads off as we go to the 5th inning, and Selma's breaking ball is over, strike 1. BW Post, Long Island University, Hofstra, Yeshiva, CCNY, and Iona have already been heard from, and many of their students plan to be on hand on College Day. So if you're a college student and you're interested, contact the promotion department of the New York Mets, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. Dick Selma with a 2-strike count on Dennis Menke. Menke single to left his first time up. A drive in the air to left field, waiting there as Cranes, who is in front of it, makes the catch. Eddie had to come in only about 3 steps to grab that liner. 1 out and nobody on, and that brings up the Atlanta pitcher, Tony Cloninger. Both pitchers in this game today are hard throwers, Selma and Cloninger, and both have thrown a lot of pitches. Each has given up 3 walks. Both have gone 3 and 2 on a number of hitters. It'd be interesting to see which of the two can keep their stuff the longest, throwing how many pitches. Curve outside and low, ball 1. We're in the 5th inning, the game tied 2-2. Selma's pitch on the way. Fly ball, well hit the center. Back goes Hickman at full speed, way out, and he can't get it. The ball bounces on 1 hop over the fence for a ground rule double. Tony Cloninger hit one a mile off Dick Selma. Over the head of Jim Hickman, the ball landed on the warning track, bounced high enough to go over the wall at the 396 mark. A long ground rule double. For the Braves, their 3rd hit of the ball game, and they now have the potential leading run in scoring position. The hitter is Philippe Alou. Alou has grounded out to short and bounced out pitcher to first.
Sutherland and Gordon Richardson warming up now in the Mets bullpen. Now Selma off the stretch. A fastball outside to Alou. 1 ball and no strikes. That was a real shot hit by Tony Cloninger to deep right center. The Mets have 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error. The Braves 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. Cloninger leading off second, 1 man out. It pops out of Choo-Choo Smith. Cloninger's on his way to throw to third. They may get him. Save! Out! He overshot the bag. Cloninger arrived safely, but slipped past the bag and was bagged by Boyer. When the pitch got away from Choo-Choo Coleman, the soft run out of Choo-Choo Smith. Rolled away, and Cloninger took off. He actually had the throw beaten and had been called safe. But then slid off the bag, and Boyer, on the alert, quickly tagged him before he could get back. 2 outs, nobody on. Pitch to Alou. A long drive, hit deep to left center. Way back, this one is up, and there it goes, a home run. Put the Braves out in front. And the play at third base just completed was a big one. It saved the Mets a run. That for Alou is his first home run of the year. Wes Westrom is on his way to the mound with Eddie Matthews coming up. Gordon Richardson is going to be brought in. Selma gave up just 1 hit over the first 3 innings. And nobody on. In the 4th inning, he issued a costly walk to Rico Sardi. But Lee Thomas stepping in behind him hit a 2-run homer to tie the game. Now a 2-out home run by Philippe Alou has put Atlanta in front by a score of 3-2. Right here we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
You're listening to WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
And Ralph Kiner, Shea Stadium. For the first time in the young season, the Mets are getting a pitching change. In their first 2 games, the starter went the route. And while Gordon Richardson is coming in to relieve Dick Selma, Lindsey Nelson will bring you right up to date on the scores of the other games.
All right, Bob, in the National League, going to the top half of the 7th inning, the Philadelphia Phillies lead the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 3-1. Joe Nuxall started for Cincinnati. Don Nottebart in the 6th inning. And for the Phils, Chris Short started, spinning all the way. Richie Allen had a first-inning home run with a man on for the Phils. In Pittsburgh at Forbes Field, going to the bottom half of the 6th inning, it's the Pirates 3 and the St. Louis Cardinals nothing. Nelson Bryles started for the Cards. Hal Woodyshick in the 5th. Ray Sadecki in the 6th. Bob Field started, has been in all the way for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gene Alley and Matty Alou have had home runs for the Pirates. The Chicago Cubs are in Los Angeles against the Dodgers on a later start. The Houston Astros are in San Francisco against the Giants on a later start. Over in the American League, going to the bottom half of the 5th inning, it's the Yankees 1, the Baltimore Orioles nothing. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber. And at Cleveland, going to the top of the 6th, it's the Cleveland Indians 4 and the Boston Red Sox nothing. Earl Wilson started for Boston. Guido Greeley in the 5th inning. Luis Diaz going for Cleveland. Calavito and Self have had home runs in the ballgame for Cleveland. Going to the top half of the 7th inning, the Detroit Tigers 4 and the Washington Senators 2. Mike McCormick started for Washington. Diego McGee in the 5th. Hank Gary for Detroit. Al Kaline home in the 2nd with nobody on. The California Angels scheduled against the Minnesota Twins postponed because of rain. The first game of a Sunday doubleheader in Chicago at Sox Park. Going to the bottom half of the 4th inning, it's the White Sox 3 and the Kansas City A's nothing. Sheldon against Bizarre. Right here, the Atlanta Braves have just taken a lead of 3-2 over the New York Mets with 2 men out, nobody on base, and the top half of the fifth inning on Felipe Belou's home run. Gordon Richardson has been brought in relief of Dick Stoma. As Bob Murphy pointed out, the first relief of a Mets moundsman this season. Richardson has completed his warm-up tosses. Once again, here's Bob Murphy.
All right, Lindsay. Eddie Matthews stepping in. Richardson is ready to go. Gordon, a tall, slender southpaw from Collinsville, Georgia. Formerly a member of the St. Louis Cardinals. Pitched very well in the relief role during spring training. Now Richardson winds the pitch to Matthews. A line shot caught by Hunt, the side down. First pitch thrown by Gordy was a hung out of the line drive, but glove-handed on a lunging play by Ron Hunt. So one pitch to the side is out. The Braves grabbed the lead by scoring one run. There were two hits. No errors, none left. At the end of 4.5 innings, the score, the Atlanta Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. What does Mr. Donahue do when his daughter and her beau take over the living room? Listen.
Mrs. McGuire, and I'll quickly tell to you, 'tis me sister he admires, and Katie Donahue. She's fair and fat and sporty, and believe me when I say, every time that he comes courting her, you can hear me mother say. Johnny, get up from the fire, get up and give the man a seat. Don't you see it's Mr. McGuire, and he's courting your sister Kate. You know pretty well he owns a farm a little way out of town. Will you get up out of there and be taking the air and let Mr. McGuire sit down?
And in New York City, when Johnny gives up his chair, Father, too, may retire from the scene for some peace and quiet and Rheingold Extra Dry. Maybe it's our double fermentation he's fond of. But whatever it is, we must be doing something right.
Will you get up out of there and be taking the air and let Mr. McGuire sit down?
Kenny Boyer up against Tony Cloninger. Looks a fastball over it. It's high. 1 ball and no strikes. Ken doubled off the left field wall in the first inning, driving home Johnny Lewis from first base. Next pitch to him. Fastball high, 2 balls and no strikes. Getting off to a real good start. Boyer has had 4 hits and 9 times at bat. And he's knocked 3 runs in. Tony Cloninger with a 2-0 count. Winds and pitches. A drive hit hard toward the alley and left center spins for a base hit. Throwing back to the wall, and Boyer is on his way to second. Ken will go into second standing up with a long double. Kenny Boyer has his second double of the ball game. Hard hit line drive that split between the left fielder and the center fielder. On to hit now is Eddie Cranepool. Eddie hammered a single to right field in the third inning, driving home Johnny Lewis with the Mets' second run. Johnny Lewis with a base hit and a walk has scored both of the New York runs in this game. Ken Boyer and Eddie Cranepool have driven Johnny home. Now Cranepool hitting with a chance to tie up the ball game. Here's the pitch on the way. Curve, a swing and a foul tip. That Atlanta bullpen has been active every inning of the game. Right-hander Craig Carroll and left-hander Herb Hiphoff. Now they are going to switch to Chichi Olivo and Phil Necro. Carroll and Hiphoff, the long men, working the first 4 innings of the bullpen. Now the changeover. Next pitch on the way. A swing and a miss by Cranepool on a fastball. And Cloninger now has a 2-strike count on Eddie. Boyer up against Tony Cloninger. Looks a fastball over it. It's high. 1 ball and no strikes. Ken doubled off the left field wall in the first inning, driving home Johnny Lewis from first base. Next pitch to him. Fastball high. 2 balls and no strikes. Getting off to a real good start. Boyer has had 4 hits and 9 times at bat. And he's knocked 3 runs in. Tony Cloninger with a 2-0 count. Winds and pitches. A drive hit hard toward the alley, and left center is in for a base hit. Rolling back to the wall, and Boyer is on his way to second. Ken will go into second, standing up with a long double. Kenny Boyer has his second double of the ball game. Hard hit line drive that split between the left fielder and the center fielder. On to hit now is Eddie Cranepool. Eddie hammered a single to right field in the 3rd inning, driving home Johnny Lewis with the Mets' second run. Johnny Lewis with a base hit and a walk has scored at both of the New York runs in this game. Ken Boyer and Eddie Cranepool have driven Johnny home. Now Cranepool hitting with a chance to tie up the ball game. Here's the pitch on the way. Curve, a swing and a foul hit. That Atlanta bullpen has been active every inning of the game. Right-hander Clay Carroll and left-hander Herb Hiphoff. Now they are going to switch to Chichi Olivo and Phil Necro. Carroll and Hiphoff, the long men, working the first 4 innings of the bullpen. Now the changeover. Next pitch on the way. A swing and a miss by Cranepool on a fastball. And Cloninger now has a 2-strike count on Eddie. The Atlanta Braves, with 2 home runs to drive in their 3 runs, have scored 3 runs on 4 hits. The Mets have 2 runs, 6 hits. Dick Stewart is the on-deck batter, and then Choo-Choo Coleman. Now Cloninger steps off. Young Larry Joster, who won 3 games in September with the Cardinals last year, is going to open the series against the Mets Tuesday afternoon. And Jack Fisher, who lost a heartbreaker to the Braves opening day here, will be back for his second start. Cloninger's pitch to Cranepool. Inside the high, and he hit the dirt. This is the rubber game of the 3-game series. The 1-2 delivery. Low and inside. Torrey has to scoop this one out. So now the count is 2-2 after Cloninger had Cranepool with a 2-strike count. Next Sunday, the Mets have a doubleheader against the Braves in Atlanta. And when you wake up next Sunday morning, you'll be on daylight saving time. Count 2-2 on Cranepool. In the set position. Now steps off as the shortstop Menke makes a run on Ken Boyer at second. The outfield swung around to right, playing Cranepool to pull the ball. Eddie hit one over the right field wall for a 2-run homer yesterday. Pitching 2-2. Outside, ball 3. Curve missing, and now the string is out. Tony Cloninger has both thrown a lot of pitches. Both 3-2 on many hitters. Now Cloninger, who had a 2-strike advantage, has run the count out to 3-2. Boyer leads off second. Now the pitch. A change-up curve outside, ball 4. He didn't want to throw Cranepool that fastball on 3-2. He changed up on a curveball and missed with it. So Dick Stewart is up with runners on first and second, nobody out. Bobby Bergen standing on the dugout floor looking out toward the mound. Now Coach Whitey Herzog wants to talk to Dick Stewart, so he calls him down.
Coleman is the on-deck batter, and then Jim Hickman. So let's see how the Mets play it. Will they have Stewart, a power hitter, bunt the men over? Or will they let him swing away? Braves have to guard against the possibility of the bunt. Here's the pitch. A swing and a miss, strike one. Knee-high breaking ball by Tony Cloninger. He has a one-strike count on Dick Stewart. Braves 3 and the Mets 2, last in the fifth inning. Runners build a lead. He's around the bunt. Bunt foul. Strike two. Now Stewart tries to bunt the third strike. He does so knowing that if he bunts the ball foul, he's a strikeout victim. The Atlanta defensive players in good position for that sacrifice bunt. They weren't really playing him as though they believed he would bunt. So Cloninger now has a two-strike advantage on Stewart. The right-hander's pitch on the way. Inside of the letters, 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Mets got a run in the first inning, which was driven home by Kenny Boyer with a double off the left field wall. Went in front 2-0 when Cranepool drove home Johnny Lewis in the third inning. But Lee Thomas hit a 2-run homer in the fourth to tie the game. And Felipe Alou homered in the top of the fifth inning to put Atlanta in front. Now the pitch. Curve, a swing and a miss, strike 3. Five strikeouts for Tony Cloninger, the second time he has struck out Dick Stewart. Now the hitter is Choo-Choo Coleman. Choo-Choo has popped to short and bounced out pitcher to first on a very controversial play. The Mets argued long and loud that Choo-Choo had beaten the throw from Tony Cloninger. Now the pitch. Fastball, he takes high. 1 ball and no strike. Had the call on Choo-Choo gone in the Mets' favor, a run crossed the plate on the play, and they would have had runners at first and third. Cloninger's pitch to Coleman. A ground ball hit down to first base. Thomas up with it. Steps on first for the out, and the runners move to second and third. So Choo-Choo grounds out to lead Thomas unassisted. Boyer moves to third, and Cranepool to second. Bobby Bergen is headed for the mound. They'll talk this over. They have an open base to work with. Jim Hickman is coming up to hit. First base is open with 2 men down. Roy McMillan is the on-deck batter. So the Atlanta skipper, Robert Randall Brigham, is conferring now with his pitcher, Tony Cloninger, and his catcher, Joe Torre. And in a moment, we'll know how they want to play it. Jim Hickman ripped a curveball and lined it into left field for a solid base hit his last time up. Jim has 1 for 2 today. Now Cloninger takes his sign. Runners on second and third. 2 men away. The Mets 1 run behind. Here's the pitch. Look out. And the ball hits the bat as Hickman hit the dirt to get out of the way of it. That one really got away from Tony Cloninger. A high inside fastball that was headed right for Hickman's head. Jim hit the dirt, left the bat in the air as he hit the dirt to get out of the way, and lo and behold, it hit the bat for a strike. That was one of the hardest pitches Cloninger has thrown. Now the pitch on the way. Check swing grounder, hit down the third baseline, no play. So Cloninger has a 2-strike count on Jim Hickman. McMillan kneeling in the on-deck circle. And Cloninger, the hard-throwing right-hander from North Carolina, looks in to get his sign from Torrey. The two-strike pitch. A curve over, strike three called, and Hickman is caught looking. Strikeout number 6 by Tony Cloninger, and he continues to bail out of one jam after another. The Mets have had at least one man on base in each inning of the ball game. So, in the 5th inning, no runs. One hit, a leadoff double by Ken Boyer. No errors, 2 left on. In 5 innings, the Mets now have had 8 men left on base. At the end of 5, it's the Atlanta Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. Fans' good season boxes for this 1966 season are still available to you, as well as a variety of other season ticket plans to suit the individual taste. To find out about the various plans available for Mets home games at beautiful Shea Stadium and to find out how to order tickets, contact the ticket manager, Shea Stadium, Flushing, New York. The phone number is 672-3000. The phone number again for the ticket office, 672-3000. They'll be very happy to discuss the various ticket plans that are best for you or your group and explain how to go about ordering. Now the ground crew manicures the diamond for the last 4 innings of action. We go to the 6th inning with the Braves leading by 1 run on the strength of a home run by Felipe Alou. They're out in front 3-2. In Philadelphia, the Phils lead Cincinnati 3-1 after 6 1/2. Pittsburgh leading the St. Louis Cardinals 3-0 at the end of 6 behind Bob Field. The warm-ups at Dodger Stadium, Larry Jackson for the Cubs and Mr. Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers. Houston will pitch Barry Latman against the Giants' Bob Boland. Henry Aaron leading off against Gordon Richardson as we go to the 6th inning. Aaron has flied to left and reached on a walk. Check swing, and the pitch is inside and low, ball 1. The Orioles scoring 2 runs in the 5th inning and 1 in the 6th on a homer by Paul Blair lead the Yankees 3-2 at the end of 6. Inside, ball 2 to Henry Aaron. On home runs by Rocky Colavito and Duke Sims, Cleveland leads the Red Sox 4-0 after 6 innings. The 7th inning, a happy inning for Gil Hodges and his crew at Detroit. They came up with 6 runs. Foul fly hit off to the right side, no play. Washington was trailing Detroit 4-2 going to the 7th inning. But in the 7th inning, Bob Chance hit a 3-run homer. Ken McMullen homered with nobody on. And Washington got 6 runs to go in front of Detroit 8-4. The Angels and Twins were rained out in Minnesota. The 2-1 delivery fouled again to the right by Hank Aaron. The count is 2-2. They're being held up by rain at the end of 5 innings in Chicago, where the White Sox lead the A's 4-0. It is an official ball game. It's the first game, however, of a doubleheader. Fly ball punched down the right field line. It's a foul ball. Stewart giving chase, but it's out of reach. In the NBA championship round, at the end of the 3rd quarter now, the Celtics of Red Auerbach lead the Lakers 99-94. The Lakers have been closing the gap in that game. At the end of the 2nd period, the Detroit Red Wings lead the Chicago Blackhawks 3-1. Their series stands 2 games each. The 2-2 pitch. Foul ball. Right back to our broadcasting booth and out of play. That'll make you move. Well, we told you we hired a new statistician, Arthur Friedman, because he was a great glove man. Where were you when we needed you, Art? You don't catch those with a pencil. It's 2-2. Foul ball back, no play. I remember one time Mickey Mantle hit a foul ball right straight back into our broadcasting booth. I ducked. The ball went right over my head. Our engineer was seated up behind us. It hit the amplifier and knocked us right off the air. Better the amplifier than the engineer. base hit down the left field line by Aaron. He really leaned into a changeup. Aaron is on his way to second. A Strainpool picks the ball up in the corner, and Aaron goes into second with a double. Henry Aaron leading off against Gordon Richardson in the sixth inning with a double hit down the left field line. That brings up Joe Torre. Wes Westrum has warm-up action now in the Mets bullpen. Braves lead 3-2. And the pitch to Torre is a strike on the inside corner. The Braves see very little left-hand pitching. Their lineup and their power is such that they look at right-hand pitching day after day. That's why Wes Westrum had things arranged to start Jack Fisher, Jack Hamilton, and Dick Selma against the Braves. You like right-handers against them. Now the pitch on the way. A swing and a miss on a high hardwood. Jordan was brought in for a specific duty to pitch to Eddie Matthews, one of the few left-hand hitters the Braves have. And he got him on a line drive to second. Tug McGraw is warming in the bullpen now, along with Darryl Sutherland. Eddie Matthews and Lee Thomas are the only left-hand hitters in that Braves lineup. Now Gordy with a two-strike count. Way up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. We're in the sixth inning. It's 3-2 Atlanta. The Braves, noted for their power, have unloaded 2 home runs in today's game. A 2-run homer by Lee Thomas. That tied the score. Then the tie-breaking homer by Philippe Alou. Down in the dirt, it gets away from Choo-Choo and goes all the way to the backstop. And Henry Aaron moves over to third. Wild pitch by Gordon Richardson. And now Aaron is on third with nobody out. Rico Carty is the on-deck hitter. That changes things, and now the Mets have to bring the infield in, which always places the advantage with the hitter. So with Aaron now on third, the Mets play the infield in to try and cut off the run. The outfield is around toward left. Richardson winding. The pitch to Torre, a wild pitch all the way to the backstop. Here comes Aaron home, and he'll score. 2 wild pitches in a row, and Aaron comes in to score. The first one that let Aaron go across the third base was down in the dirt. And the next one was way over Choo-Choo's head and sailed all the way to the backstop. Now a full count, 3-2 on Joe Torre. The Braves now lead 4-2. The pitch by Richardson. A smash through the hole, a base hit to left field. Eddie Cranepool picks the ball up, and Joe Torre is on with a single to left. Wes Westrum is going to the mound, and we're going to get a change in pitching, and the right-hander, Darryl Sutherland, will be coming in. So Gordon pitches 1/3 of an inning. At the moment has given up 1 run, allowed 2 hits. He walked none and struck out none. He uncorked 2 wild pitches that enabled Aaron to come from second base around to score. Fans look for the Rheingold Chug-a-Mug display at your local store. Now the Chug-a-Mug looks and sounds just like what it is. A good thirst-quenching drink of beer. 12 ounces of Rheingold Extra Dry, and you can drink it right from the mug. Coming in to relieve Gordon Richardson. With a man on first, Joe Torre, and nobody out. The score 4-2 Atlanta, and we're in the 6th inning.
That's the score on the ball game here at Shea Stadium in the final game of this three-game series. As for the scores on the other Sunday games in the Major League, let's check in with Lindsay.
All right, Bob, going to the top half of the eighth inning now. The Phillies lead the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 3-1. Nuxall for Cincinnati, Don Notabart in the sixth inning. Chris Short all the way for the Phils so far. Richie Allen had a two-run home run in the first inning for the Phils. At Forbes Field in Pittsburgh, the St. Louis Cardinals got 5 big runs in the top half of the seventh inning to take the lead from the Pirates now by a score of 5-3 going to the bottom of the seventh. For St. Louis, Nelson Bryles started. Hal Woodishick in the fifth. Ray Sadecki in the sixth. Tracy Stallard in the seventh. Bob Beal for Pittsburgh, relieved by Roy Pace in that big seventh inning. Gene Alley and Matty Alou have had Pittsburgh home runs. The Chicago Cubs at Dodger Stadium against the Dodgers in the latest start. The warm-ups, Larry Johnson for the Cubs, Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers. And the warm-ups at Candlestick Park in San Francisco for Houston, Barry Latman, and for the San Francisco Giants, Bob Boland. Over in the American League, going to the seventh, it is the Baltimore Orioles 3 and the New York Yankees 2. Whitey Ford against Steve Barber, relieved by Dick Hall in the seventh. Paul Blair homing in the sixth with nobody on for Baltimore. Going to the bottom of the seventh, it's Cleveland 4, the Boston Red Sox nothing. Earl Wilson started for Boston, Guido Grilli in the fifth, Bob Sadowski in the seventh. Luis Tiant for Cleveland. Colavito and Sims had homers. Washington 8, Detroit 4, going to the bottom of the eighth. California and Minnesota postponed rain. Chicago 4, Kansas City nothing at the end of 5. First game of a doubleheader, and now back to Bob Murphy.
Darrell Sutherland on in relief from the hitter is Rico Carty. Joe Torre on first base, nobody out. Sixth inning with the Braves leading 4-2. Now Darrell in the set position. Delivers to Carty. A ground ball hit down to third. Boyer up with it. Throws to Hunt. There's one. Now to Stewart. Double play. Kenny Boyer was flying in close to third to guard against the possibility of a bunt. That ground ball was really ripped down to him. He fielded the ball clean and then had to wait a moment for Ron Hunt to get over there, and the Mets go around the infield for the colorful double play. The hitter is Lee Thomas. He tied the game in the fourth inning with a two-run homer, well hit over the right field wall out into the bullpen of the Mets. Down in the dirt, ball one. One ball, no strikes on Lee Thomas. He hit 22 home runs in the American League last year playing for the Red Sox. And again, Darrell Sutherland's pitch is in the dirt out in front of the plate. Lee has had about 3 pretty good years. He has good power. Had a couple of good years with the Angels. The 2-0 delivery, and it's in the dirt for the third straight time. Ball 3. Darrell Sutherland, not even close to the strike zone on 3 pitches to Lee Thomas. So Ken Boyer comes over from third to see if he'll help. Darrell's relief work late last season was one of the bright spots of the closing part of the campaign. Young, slender right-hander from Glendale, California. Ball 4, low and inside. He walked Thomas on 4 pitches, and they were all far out of the strike zone. Right here, let's pause for station identification.
This is WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
Frank Bowling up against Sutherland. Looks for the curve that's over, strike 1. And the mock cheer. Frank Bowling has been up twice, and both times he grounded out to Dick Soma. Next pitch on the way, a slow grounder hit back to the mound. Sutherland picks it up. Rifles it on to Stewart. The side is out. Good job by Darrell Sutherland. 1 run. There were 2 hits. No errors. 2 wild pitches figured in the scoring. And 1 man left on. Pain. young, slender right-hander from Glendale, California. Ball 4, low and inside. He walks Thomas on 4 pitches, and they were all far out of the strike zone. Right here, let's pause for station identification.
This is WGY 810 on your radio dial, Schenectady.
Bowling up against Sutherland. Looks for the curve that's over strike 1. And the mock cheer. Frank Bowling has been up twice, and both times he grounded out to Dick Selma. Next pitch on the way. A slow grounder hit back to the mound. Sutherland picks it up. Rifles it on to Stewart. The side is out. Good job by Darrell Sutherland. 1 run. There were 2 hits. No errors. 2 wild pitches figured in the scoring. And 1 man left on. At the end of 5 1/2 innings, it's the Atlanta Braves 4 and the New York Mets 2.
So you're a specialist? Well, so is WGY. WGY caters to almost all of you who have an outstanding interest. Does the first blade of green grass head you for your gardening gear? Then tune in Garden Talk at 9:30 every Saturday morning. Ernie Tatro will be by the telephone along with Bill Starr and Don Crispin of the Quality Bulb and Garden Center to answer your questions and help solve your gardening problems. Thrilled to the sport of kings, so does Howard Tupper. He shares his enthusiasm and his knowledge with you every Monday through Friday at 6:15 on Track Talk. Enjoy the intriguing behind-the-scenes view of racing with Tup every evening. Now, if you're a jazz connoisseur, Tuesday evening at 8:15 is going to be the high spot of your week. Just Jazz with Randy English's Just That from Dixieland, real cool jazz. The listening Tuesday night is fabulous. If you're a specialist, remember so is WGY. A specialist in bringing you the best in information and entertainment all day long.
In the 6th inning, Roy McMillan hitting against Tony Croninger. Outside, it's ball 1. Doug McGraw is warming in the bullpen. Darrell Sutherland is out kneeling in the on-deck circle. The Mets 2 runs behind. We're in the bottom half of the 6th inning. Each team has 6 hits in the game. It's taken high, ball 2. The Mets have had many opportunities to score in this ball game. Tony Kleininger has been a real escape artist. Over the first 5 innings, the Mets have had 8 men left on base. They've had at least 1 man left on base in each inning. And in the last 3, there were 2 men left on. The 2-0 delivery. Fastball high, it's ball 3. Has walked 4, struck out 6. 3-0 pitch is down the middle for a strike with Mack taking all the way, and now it's 3-1. 3-1 delivery. Inside, ball 4, and the Mets have a base runner. Walk number 5 given up by Tony Croninger. Milwaukee, or Atlanta, I beg your pardon, bullpen is going. Their bullpen has been busy every inning of this game. Now Sutherland is being called back to the dugout, and Al Luplo is coming out as the pinch hitter. Al Luplo, left-handed hitting outfielder. Coming out as a pinch hitter for Darrell Sutherland, and the Mets will have a new pitcher in the game in the 7th inning. Chichi Olivo and Phil Necro are working again in the Atlanta bullpen. And here comes Bobby Bregan once again. He's been out 3 times in various innings. This time, as he starts out, he calls Joe Torre over to talk to him near the fungo circle before he crosses the line. He's going to the mound. Eddie Brassu is coming in the game as a pinch runner for Roy McMillan. Tony McMillan was up 3 times and walked all 3. And now Eddie Pursue will run for McMillan. Luplo will bat for Sutherland. No sign has been given to the bullpen as yet. Bobby Bregan still talking with his pitcher, Tony Cloninger. And now, as the plate umpire, Chris Pellicutis goes out to speed up the game. The sign goes to the bullpen, and this will be all for Tony Cloninger. He has had Chichi Olivo and Joe Nitro warming up. And it's Olivo coming in. Dominican Republic. Olivo, a right-hander. This will be his second relief appearance of the young season. He relieved the second game of the season when the Braves were shut out by Vern Law in Atlanta. Braves losing that game 6-0. Olivo worked 1 inning, allowed no runs, gave up 1 hit. Last time against the New York Mets, Olivo has won none and lost 1. Last year, he was in Atlanta most of the year. He was in 49 games in Atlanta, won 9 and lost 2. He was in 8 games with the Milwaukee Braves, won none and lost 1. His earned run average, though, was 1.3. Olivo, 6'2", 205-pound right-hander. He has been around in pro ball since 1955. So Tony Cloninger has left the ball game after pitching 5 full innings. At the moment, he has given up 2 runs, allowed 6 hits. He walked 5 and struck out 6. Olivo taking over on the mound. Cloninger is responsible for Eddie Pursue, the pinch runner at first base. Now here we go. Al Luplo hitting against Chichi Olivo. Here's the pitch. A ground shot, a base hit through the hole into right field. Eddie Pursue around second will stop there. Luplo jumping on the first pitch. He hit a low shot beyond the reach of Thomas through the hole into right field, and the tying runs around with nobody out. Coming up. Braves now gear their defense against the sacrifice bunt. Ron has flied to center, singled to center, and flied to right. 1 hit and 3 trips. Now you can hear that enthusiasm of the Mets fans. Mets fans rising to the occasion. In they come, looking for the bunt. It is bunted down the third base line of beauty. Matthews picks it up, throws to first in time for the out. You can't bunt any better than that. Definitely the bat was handled by Ron Hunt as he punted down the third base line and made the third baseman Matthews handle the ball. The runners move along to second and third on beautiful execution on the sacrifice by Hunt. Tying runs are in scoring position. The hitter is Johnny Lewis. Johnny has singled to center, has reached on a walk, and has been struck out. He has scored both runs in this game for the Mets. Here's the pitch by Olivo. Low and inside. It's ball 1. Now the pitch on the way. Down in the dirt. Handled by Joe Torre. Bobby Bregan now has Phil Necro, a right-hander, and Billy Odell, a left-hander, working in the bullpen. The Mets are trailing 4-2, and they have their threat here in the last of the sixth inning. On a walk to McMillan, and a pinch single by Al Luplo, and then a good bunt by Ron Hunt, they're in scoring position. Inside, ball 3. Fastball just missing. And Olivo is just a pitch away from loading the bases. Waiting on deck, Ken Boyer. The 3-0 delivery. He takes all away, and it's over for a strike, 3-1. 3-1 on Johnny Lewis. Olivo, the veteran right-hander, delivers. Cut on and fouled. Back toward the press box, no play. Now a full count on Lewis at 3-2. The paid crowd today here at Shea Stadium, another good crowd, 26,965. So the three-game series, the opening of the new season, has attracted 102,248. The 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Throw to third. Base. Pursued just getting back. Olivo coming from behind to fan Johnny Lewis. He was behind him 3-0. Came back to strike him out, and Torrey whipped the ball to third, and Pursued just did get back. Now the Mets sorely in need of that base hit. The infield drops back against Ken Boyer with 2 men down. Kenny Boyer has had 2 doubles and 3 times up. He's not going to run. Boyer right now in the new season has 5 hits and 10 times at bat and 3 runs batted in. A swing and a miss on a high hard one, strike 1. If Olivo bails out of the jam, it'll be the 4th straight inning. The Mets have had 2 men left on base. Here's the pitch on the way. Ground ball, hits the second base. Holding up with it, throws to first, decides out. So Kichi Olivo bails the Braves out. The last of the 6th inning, and for the 4th straight inning, the Mets have had 2 men left on. No runs, 1 hit. No errors, 2 left on. 10 left on over the first 6 innings, and at the end of 6, the Atlanta Braves 4 and the New York Mets 2.
Tired of starting the day the same old way? Then try tuning in WGY, where the pace changes with the personalities all morning long. If you're a bright and early riser, then at 5:45, the Chanticleer program will provide you with a tempo that really gets the day underway. At 7:10, WGY swings into a new segment with Bill Edwardson. Breakfast with Bill is as much a household routine in most homes as the first cup of coffee. His chronic inability to leave well enough alone stirs up howls and hornets' nests. Following hard on Bill's heels comes the inimitable Jerry Ducey with platters, patter, and telephone time. If you've got an urge to unburden yourself on his daily issue, just give him a ring and let go. The morning wouldn't be complete, though, without the woman's point of view. So at 11:30, Martha Brooks brings you the inside of the women's world. Time to go to lunch? Take the portable along. WGY wants to keep pace right along with you.
Top half of the 7th inning, and the New York Mets leave Ed Pursuit and at shortstop, and left-hander Tug McGraw has come on now to do the pitching. And a new center fielder also in the ball game. Luplo stays in the ball game in center field with Jim Hickman coming out. So make those changes. McGraw is the pitcher. Luplo in center. Pursuit at shortstop. Luplo has to bat 9th since he came in to bat 4, pitcher Darryl Sutherland. And McGraw will bat in Jim Hickman's position in the batting order. Pursuit, of course, that's 8th, having come in to run for Roy McMillan. Braves lead 4-2, and Dennis Menke, the number 8 man in the batting order, is up to lead off. He's a right-hand batter. Facing left-hand pitcher Tug McGraw. He reported late, of course, because of his duty in the Marine Corps, and has been slowly rounding into shape. McGraw's first pitch to the right-hand batter. It's well in front of the plate and bounds in on one big hop. It's ball one. McGraw takes a little walk around. Now toes the rubber again and looks in for a sign. And the 1-0 pitch is high and off the glove of Coleman and rolls about 15 feet away. So it's 2 balls and no strikes, and Coleman is going to go to the mound now to have a word with Tug McGraw. Tug McGraw is nowhere near in peak condition at this time. A little surprising that he was brought on here on 2 counts, in that he is not in top condition and in that he is a left-hander. Here is the 2-0 pitch. Fired right in there for a called strike. Menke was taking all the way, bluffed the ball out, the bat out over the plate, and then withdrew it. 2-1 to count to Menke. Shea Olivo on deck. Ross' pitch is high. 3 balls and 1 strike. The Mets got out into an early lead here this afternoon, scored 1 run in the first inning. In each of the 3 games the Mets have played, they have scored in the first inning. 3-1 pitch. And it's low for a base on ball to Dennis Menke. So McGraw has walked Menke, and Olivo is coming up. The Mets will have to protect against the likelihood of the sacrifice here. Choo Coleman went into the dugout for a word with manager Wes Westrom. Comes back now to reassume his position behind the plate. Dick Stewart comes over to hold against the run of Menke at first. McGraw off the stretch. And the pitch. Oliva shortened. Butt foul. Out of play. Boyer was charging way in close, expecting the butt. Strike 1 to Shea Olivo. The alignment for the Mets in the outfield is Ed Cranfield in left, Al Luplo in center, and Johnny Lewis in right. Ken Boyer at third, Edward Stewart short, Ron Hunt at second, Dick Stewart at first, McGraw the pitcher, Coleman the catcher. Ken McGraw checks, and the pitch. Outside. High and away, 1-1. Had Hunt moving quickly to the bag at first, with Stewart ready to charge down the line. Already Boyer at third was charging. 1 ball and 1 strike. McGraw set, 1-1 pitch. Low, Olivo was ready to bunt, but he laid off, and McGraw goes behind. 2 balls and 1 strike. The official paid attendance here this Sunday afternoon for the finale of this series, 26,965. Press and service 587. Total in the house, 27,552. Now McGraw again checks the runners. The 2-1 pitch. Bunted on and missed. It's 2-2. Menke holds it first. So the opening series between the Mets and the Braves, a 3-game series, has drawn total paid attendance of 102,248. Draw set for the 2-2 delivery. Olivo squares to bunt, bunts and misses. He's a strikeout victim, trying to lay it down. So McGraw is credited with the strikeout. Menke holds his first. 1 away, and Felipe Alou is coming up. That is the first strikeout registered by Met pitching today. Felipe Alou hit a home run over the left center field fence in the top half of the 5th inning. At that time, it broke a 2-2 tie, putting the Braves out in front 3-2. They added another run in the 6th, and they lead by a score of 4-2 at this point. A changeup that's in there for a called strike. McGraw took a lot off of that one. Choo-choo again is going out to the mound. Delivering the ball all the way. Dick Stewart is holding against the runner. Dennis Menke at first base. Shea Stadium in New York. We're in the top half of the seventh inning. Philippe Ballou, a right-hand hitter. Doug McGraw up and set. And the pitch swung on and hit in the air down the right field line, going foul all over into the stands and out of play. 2-strike count now to Kalu. Waiting on deck is a prospective pinch hitter. Mike Delahoe is swinging a bat on deck. Swinging a ground ball going to Matthew Boyer for one to go to first. Now a double play. A tremendous double play as Boyer stamped that ball just as it appeared that it would go through the hole for a base hit. He played it on to Ron Hunt and Hunt on over to Stewart for a double play that retires the side. A tremendous stab by Boyer at third base. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left. The score at the end of 6.5 innings is the Braves 4, the Mets 2. Sometimes things roll easy and sometimes they don't roll at all. Either way, here's a song with a message for you.
Roll on a button, roll on easy. How can I roll when the wheels don't go? This old hand killed the John Henry. Won't get me. No, it won't get me.
And in New York City, more people roll on easy with Rheingold Extra Dry than with any other beer. Maybe they like our natural carbonation, but whatever it is, we must be doing something right.
Roll on a button, roll on easy. Now how can I roll when the wheels don't go?
Atlanta Braves. Eddie Matthews comes out of the ball game. Dennis Menke moves to third base, and Woody Woodward comes in at shortstop. For the Mets, Ted Cranepool is up to lead off. Left-hand batter facing Shea Olivo, and the first pitch blowing away for ball one. As we go to the bottom half of the seventh, it is the Braves 4 and the Mets 2. Again, Olivo pumps and pitches, and it's inside for a ball. In the National Basketball Association Championship playoffs, the Boston Celtics and the Los Angeles Lakers have gone into overtime, tied 121 to 121. Here's a pitch low for a ball. 3-0. Here's the 3-0 delivery. And it's outside. Second, it's in there for a called strike. 3-1 the count now to Eddie Cranepool. 3 balls and 1 strike. With Stewart waiting on deck. Olivo with the 3-1 delivery. It's low, and Cranepool draws a walk. So it is a leadoff base runner for the Mets here in the bottom half of the seventh, with Stewart coming up. He has struck out twice today. Was on a fielder's choice the other time. Stewart represents potential tying run at the plate for the Mets. Shea Olivo will work off the stretch here where Lee Thomas only gets the runner at first. The pitch swung on, hit on the ground, toward the hole, backhanded by Woodward. He throws to second to Bowling for one, to throw to first. He's safe at first base. Woody Woodward going in the hole to backhand that ground ball. Leaped into the air, pivoted, and fired over to Bowling at second in time for one. The relay was not in time to get Stewart, who becomes the base runner at first with one away. And Choo Choo Coleman coming up. Coleman has popped out, grounded out, and grounded out. At third base, Dennis Menke is on the edge of the grass. Here's the pitch. It's high for a ball. Eddie Matthews spent the last 2 days at his hotel in bed being treated for a virus, and the presumption is that he was taken out because of that. Here is the pitch low for a ball. 2-0. And when Matthews came out of the game, Menke moved to third and Woodward to short, the alignment that the Braves had played for the last 2 days. Now 2-0 pitch to Choo Choo Coleman. In there for a called strike. It's 2-1. Tug McGraw is on deck now. However, Lou Klimchak is replacing him at this moment on deck. McGraw goes back to the dugout. Lou Klimchak comes out. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Swung on and hit deep to right, a foul ball. Riding deep into the low shed down in the right field corner. A long foul ball. Count is 2-2 to Choo Choo Coleman. Larry Bernard throwing in the Met bullpen. 2-2 delivery to Coleman. Hit on the ground to third. Taken there by Menke. Fired over to Bowling, and there is no relay. Bowling leaping off the bag as Stewart was sliding in there. Now Lou Klimchak will bat for Tug McGraw. Klimchak got a place on the Mets squad by hitting 2 home runs in late exhibition games. And in that manner beat out Ernie Bowman, with whom he was competing for an infield spot on the Met roster. Manager Wes Weston said at the time he wanted Klimchak so that he could come off that bench and help him in late innings with the Mets behind. It is such a situation right now. Olivo checks and deals, and here's a swing and a miss for strike one. 2 men out. Coleman is the runner at first base. Now swinging a high pop foul back of the plate. Torrey is coming back near the screen and can't get it. It is across and in the seat. Right now we're going to step out and pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
WGY Schenectady.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at Shea Stadium in New York. Olivo's pitch is swung on and tossed up again, foul. And Torrey comes back in again. It's back in the seats and out of play. Down holds at 2 strikes to Lou Klimchak. Choo Choo Coleman on at first base and 2 men out. With the Braves leading the Mets by a score of 4-2 in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Olivo reads the fan of Joe Torre. Klimchak last year was with these Braves. Here's a pitch, high and away for a ball. In the National Basketball Association playoffs, here is the final score. The Los Angeles Lakers 133, the Boston Celtics 129. The Lakers win. Now 1-2 pitch. High for a ball. It's 2-2. Shea Olivo working to Lou Klimchak, a right-hand pitcher working to a left-hand batter. The Braves defense is swung around playing Klimchak to pull. 2-2 delivery. Swung on and hit in the air down to the right field corner, a foul ball, and it's going to go in the seats and out of play. Henry Aaron was over there at the barrier, but this one went up into the seats down to the right field corner. Choo Choo Coleman, the runner, returns to first. off the stretch with a 2-2 delivery. Swung on and missed strike three. Klemchuk has been struck out, and the side is retired. No runs, no hits, no errors, and one left. Score at the end of 7 full innings is the Braves 4 and the Mets 2. Now let's check out scores all around the majors. First in the National League. Philadelphia Phillies have defeated the Cincinnati Reds by a score of 3-1. Chris Short started one all the way for the Phils. Joe Nuxhall started for Cincinnati down and out of in the 6th inning. Richie Allen had a 2-run homer in the first 4 of the Phils. Going to the bottom half of the 8th inning, the St. Louis Cardinals 5, the Pittsburgh Pirates 3. Nelson Briles started for St. Louis. Woody Schick in the 5th, Tedeschi in the 6th. Tracy Stallard in the 7th, and Al Jackson in the 8th. Bob Field started for Pittsburgh. Roy Face in the 7th. Gene Alley and Matty Alou have had home runs for Pittsburgh. At the end of a half inning, the Cubs nothing, the Dodgers coming to bat, Larry Jackson against Sandy Koufax. At the end of 1 inning, the Giants 1, Houston nothing, Barry Lampman against Bob Pollard. The American League going to the 9th inning. It is the Baltimore Orioles 5 and the New York Yankees 4. It's Ramos against Stu Miller right now. Paul Blair had a 6th inning home run. Pitching change right here. Larry Bernard is coming in. Larry Bernard is coming in to do the pitching with McGraw having been removed for the pinch hitter. Cleveland Indians today defeated the Boston Red Sox. Shut them out 6-0. Luis Tiant with a 7-hit shutout. Earl Wilson started with the loser for Boston. Calavito and Sims had home runs. Washington Senators defeated the Detroit Tigers 10-4. Diego Segui, the winner in relief of starter Mike McCormick. Hanky Gary started and took the loss. Chance and McMillan had home runs in the ball game for the Washington Senators, who got 6 runs in the top half of the 7th inning. California Angels and the Minnesota Twins postponed because of rain. And the first game of the doubleheader in Chicago, rain has halted play after 5 innings, with the Chicago White Sox leading Kansas City 4-0. Roland Sheldon against Johnny Bazard. That is enough to be an official ball game if play is not resumed. Right here, the Atlanta Braves are leading the Mets by a score of 4-2. 7-inning totals for Atlanta. 4 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. For the Mets, 2 runs, 7 hits, and 1 error. Woody Woodward will be up to lead off for the Atlanta Braves. He's batting in Eddie Matthews' spot in the batting order as we go to the top half of the 8th inning. Doug McGraw pitched 1 inning in which he allowed no runs, no hits, struck out 1 and walked 1, and has been removed for the pinch hitter. Bernard is the 5th pitcher to be used in today's game by the Mets. Woodward is a right-hand batter. Bernard reads the sign of Choo-Choo Coleman, and his first pitch is bunted on and fouled off. Strike 1. Strike 1 to Woodward, trying to bunt his way on. What a play Ken Boyer turned in on Philippe Alou's ground smash to get the Mets out of the 7th inning. It appeared that the ground ball had gone through the hole into left, and Boyer stabbed it when it was by him and turned it into a double play. Pitch is outside for a ball. Ken Boyer had a slow start in the spring, but he has certainly had a fast start, both in the field and at the plate, since the bell rang for the regular National League season. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. It's 1-2. And that again emphasizes the old adage of don't believe anything you see in exhibition play, especially if it has to do with a veteran performer. And it's low for a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Woody Woodward. But I take the deep breath, getting ready. Now the 2-2 pitch. Low, and he has gone full now at 3-2 to Woodward. Had a very sharp exhibition season. Had arm trouble last year, but has fully recovered. Makes his home in Huntington, Long Island. 3-2 pitch. High, and he walks Woodward. doubles. Right-hand batter. At Dodger Stadium, Lou Johnson has homered for the Dodgers with 2 men on. And the first inning off Larry Jackson. Here's a swing and a drive into left. Cranepool coming on to make the catch. Drops the ball. It rolls away, and Woodward's on his way to third. Here's a throw to third, and he is out at third base. Ken Boyer rolling over after putting the tag on Woodward. Cranepool stroked him all the way in. He aimed it at the cutoff man, Ed Brisou, who let it go through. An error is charged against Cranepool. It was a hard-hit line drive, but Cranepool did get there, did have it in his glove, and did drop it. So he is charged with an error. Then the play goes 7-5 if you're scoring on Woodward. One away, and Aaron becomes the base runner at first. The Dodgers got a total of 4 runs in the bottom half of the first inning to lead the Cubs 4-0 at the end of 1. Joe Torres, the batter, right-hand hitter. Stewart holds against the runner. Bernard throws over. Henry Aaron's back in time. We're on the top of the 8th, and the Braves are leading the Mets by a score of 4-2. Now pitch, low and away, rolls out of Choo-Choo Coleman's glove. Takes it up the first base line. No advance. He fires it back to Bernard. Rico Carty's waiting in the on-deck circle for the Atlanta Braves. And the pitch is inside. Coleman throws, and he is safe, and the ball bounces away and off out into center field. Luplo recovers, does not throw as Aaron pulls up safely at third base. Brisou comes running the ball into the infield. Coleman's throw hit Aaron as he was coming into the bag, so it is scored as a stolen base for Aaron, and then he advances to third on the throwing error charged against Choo-Choo Coleman. It gives the Braves a runner at third with 1 man out and forces the Mets now to play the infield in. A count of 2 balls and no strikes to Joe Torre. Larry Bernard with a no wind-up delivery, and the pitch is swung on, hit on the ground, a little number to third, and it is taken by Boyer. He throws on to first in time. No advance by Henry Aaron, who held up at third and retreated to the bag as Boyer came up with the ball. So now there are 2 men out, and Rico Carty is the batter, and the Mets can drop the infield defense back to normal depth. That was a swinging roller down the third baseline, charged and played on over by Ken Boyer. Rico Carty has grounded out, walked, and hit into a double play. The end of 2 innings. The Giants won and the Houston Astros nothing. Larry Bernard's getting a sign. Here's the pitch to Carty. Thrown it on the ground to third. Taken by Boyer. He's up with it. Placed to Stewart, and the side is out. So Rico Carty grounds out. Boyer to Stewart. No run, no hits, 2 errors, and 1 left. And the score at the end of 7.5 innings is the Braves 4, the Mets 2.
Get the family's new car at Orange. 350 new Fords are tuned and ready. The largest choice of new Fords upstate. Dad, Mom, Junior, the baby, the dog, bring everyone. Any Ford you want, any color you want, with any accessories you want. On the lot all the time. Don't settle for seconds. Get your car the way you want. Come on down. Take everybody for a test drive today. More people, New York to Buffalo, took test drives in Orange Fords. And more people upstate are driving Orange Fords than any other single kind. Don't settle for seconds. Get your car the way you want. Come on down. Take everybody for a test drive today. More people, New York to Buffalo, took test drives in Orange Fords. And more people upstate are driving Orange Fords than any other single kind. The tremendous volume guarantees you better trades. Thousands in 85 cities, towns, and villages. In New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, and Connecticut are driving with the area's largest Ford facility at their service. For the family, buy Ford. Buy now. Buy big savings at the Big O. Go Orange Motors, 799 Central Avenue, Albany, for a good automobile. Ford makes the car. Orange makes the difference.
Leadoff for the Mets here in the bottom half of the eighth inning. Al Luplo is on deck. Right-hander Shea Olivo on the mound for the Braves. Braves 4, the Mets 2. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. Pursuit was trying to check. Took it through it. Strike one. Again the pitch, and it's low and away. 1-1 to Ed Pursuit. Charged by Woody Woodward. He throws on the run and in time. Pursuit has grounded out short to first. That brings up Al Luplo. He came on as a pinch hitter and delivered a stinging single into right field in the sixth inning. Luplo came to the Mets from the Cleveland Indians. During the offseason, he is a product of Michigan State University. Inside for ball. In the third period of the National Hockey League playoffs, the Red Wings 4 and the Blackhawks 2. 1-0 delivery. In there for a called strike. So it's 1-1 as Luplo moved back in taking the pitch. Ron Hunt is on deck. There's a play at a high fly ball into center field. Philippe Lou moves over and calls. He's there in the sunlight and makes the catch. 2 away. Nobody on base. Ron Hunt is now coming up. 0 for 2, a sacrifice, or rather 1 for 3 and a sacrifice in today's ball game. Ron Hunt a single to center in the bottom of the third. And the Mets 2 runs on 7 hits. Olivo's pitch. Swung on and lined into left for a base hit. Rico Carty up with it, plays it back, and Hunt makes the turn and holds it first with a single to left. When you're trailing by 2, anytime you can get a base runner, you've got tying run at the plate. And that's what the Mets have now with Johnny Lewis coming up. For Ron Hunt, his second base hit of the day. Johnny Lewis, single, walk. And the first pitch is low for a ball. His last 2 times up, Lewis has struck out. Final score, the Baltimore Orioles have defeated the Yankees by a score of 5-4. Now the pitch to Lewis, swung on and lined into right field. Coming on his error, he can't get it. One hops it, plays it back. Hunt holds it second. Lewis is on at first base with a single to right. Let's have the tying runs on board with Ken Boyer coming up. The Mets fans have come alive here now. 2 men out in the bottom half of the 8th inning, and Kenny Boyer is coming up. He doubled the drive and a run in the first inning. Bunted into a force out in the third. Had a double to left in the 5th inning and grounded out second to first. Now, manager Bobby Bregan of the Atlanta Braves comes out of the dugout, stretches ever so slowly out towards the mound. As he does, Ron Hunt just takes advantage of the opportunity to come into the dugout. Reagan talking to his pitcher, Shea Olivo. He's got double barrel action down there in the bullpen. Ken Boyer standing outside the batter's box, just swinging the bat loosely. Ron Hunt comes back out of the dugout. Now Phil Niekro and Billy Odell are in the bullpen for the the Braves as manager Bregan still talks it over with his battery men, Olivo and Torrey, and now he's talking it over with the umpire, Chris Pellicudis. He's stalling for a little more time. And the sign goes for the right-hander. That would be Necro. So we have a pitching change here. It'll be the third pitcher of the day coming in for the Braves. That'll be all for Olivo. He came on in the bottom half of the sixth. So he has pitched 2 2/3, during which he has given up no runs and only, a total of 3 hits, 2 in this inning, only 1 until this inning. Olivo struck out 2 and walked 1. Bill Necro is coming in. Feeling off the jacket as he approaches the infield. He's 6'1", 180-pounder from Blaine, Ohio. Last year, he pitched 75 innings. Won 2, lost 3, had an earned run average of 2.88. Throws a knuckleball, among other things. Bill Necro. Comes into a situation of 2 men out. Mets with runners at first and second. Ken Boyer coming up. The Braves leading 4-2 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. In the game at Baltimore, in which the Orioles defeated the Yankees 5-4, Dick Hall was the winner in relief, and Pedro Ramos was the loser in relief of Whitey Ford. Cleveland Indians have shut out the Boston Red Sox 6-0. The Detroit Tigers were defeated by the Washington Senators. Senators 10, Tigers 4. California and Minnesota postponed rain. Rain halted the first game of the scheduled doubleheader at Sox Park, Chicago, with the White Sox leading Kansas City 4-0. Phillies defeated Cincinnati 3-1. Short beating Nuxall. Going to the bottom of the 9th now, it is the Cardinals and the Pirates tied by 5. As the Pirates came back to tie it up. The end of an inning, the Dodgers 4, the Cubs nothing. Into 2.5, the Giants 1, and Houston nothing. But to the business at hand here, it is Boyer stepping in. He has turned in a couple of sparklers afield. Necro has pitched 2 innings so far, allowed 3 runs, 3 hits. He has no won or loss record this season. He's off the stretch with the pitch. Knuckler in there for a called strike. He uses knuckleball a great deal of the time. Rubbing his hands together briskly. A late afternoon here at Shea Stadium in New York. Now the pitch. Swung on and fouled off. Again a knuckleball. So it is a 2-strike count. Quickly to Ken Boyer. The Mets have left men on base in every inning. Left 1 stretch in the first, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, and 1 in the seventh. They have 2 men on base right now. Necro, 2-strike delivery. Swung on line into left. If it stays fair, and it does. It's a base hit. Here comes Hunt in to score. It's down to the corner. Johnny Lewis is getting a green light. Here comes Johnny Lewis. Let's go to the plate. He slides. He's safe. The ball rolls away. Going on to third now is Kenny Boyer. It is retreated back to the plate. Boyer pulls up quickly at third. The score is tied. 4-4. Boyer is at third with a double and 2 runs batted in. And here comes Bobby Bregan out of the dugout once again. record of 3 doubles in a single game. On that last play, an error was charged on Torrey at the plate for allowing the ball to get away and allowing Boyer to advance from second to third. Other Mets who had 3 doubles in a single game were Dick Smith and Ron Hutt, but Ken Boyer has just driven in the tying run. It is a 4-4 game. Necro is out of the game, and Billy O'Dell, for the 3rd straight day, comes in relief. He is a veteran left-hander. The potential go-ahead run is in scoring position at third base for the New York Mets. Ed Kranepool is still on deck. Against Olivo, who puts them on. Ed Kranepool is going to bat for himself against the left-hander, O'Dell. Still looking over his shoulder toward the dugout as he comes up there. Andrew Weststrom going to let Kranepool bat against the left-hander. The runner at third. Here's O'Dell's pitch. Swung on and missed for strike one. O'Dell pitched 2/3 of an inning on opening day here, allowed no runs, no hits. He pitched 2/3 of an inning yesterday and allowed no run, 1 hit. He has no won or loss record this year. Billy O'Dell getting a side from Joe Torrey. The strike one delivery to Ed Kranepool. Swung on, hit on the ground towards short. Woody Woodward charges up and plays the first inside. Kranepool grounds out short to first, and the side is recharged. And in the bottom half of the 8th inning, the New York Mets got 2 runs on 3 hits. There was 1 error, and it has just been changed and charged against Woodward on the throw. So change the error and charge it against Woodward. The Mets left 1 man on base, and the score at the end of 8 full innings is the Braves 4 and the Mets 4. So we'll be going to the top half of the 9th inning in a game that is now tied 4-4. Lots of excitement at Shea Stadium. And there'll be more of it here on Tuesday afternoon when the St. Louis Cardinals will be in. Larry Jaster has been nominated to pitch for the St. Louis Cardinals and Jack Fisher for the Mets. Then the second game of the series and the concluding game of the short series will be played on Wednesday afternoon, and that concludes the homestand as well. Mets then go on to the road, going to Atlanta to open up there. They come back here to Shea Stadium on Friday night, the 6th of May, the first night game of the season. Leo DeRocher and the Chicago Cubs. Tickets are now on sale for any and all home games of the Mets at 182 convenient ticket locations around town. Now other changes are being made for the Mets. Cleon Jones is going into center field. Cleon Jones is gone to center field, and Luplow, I believe, is moving to left. Manager Wes Westrom comes out to check with umpire Chris Pellicutis. So Ed Kranepool comes out of the game. Luplow goes to left. Cleon Jones into center. So Jones bats in Kranepool's position in the batting order, which is 4. 8 inning totals in this game. For the Mets, 4 runs on 10 hits and 3 errors. For the Braves, 4 runs on 6 hits and 2 errors. The Braves have left 4 men stranded to this point. Here's a swing and a ground ball back to the mound. Taken by Benarzi. Plays over to first inside. So Lee Thomas hit a comebacker, and Benarzi first base side and had to change direction quickly to stab that one and play it on over. One away, and Frank Bowling's coming up. Been up 3 times and hit the ball back to the pitcher all 3 times. Bowling, a right-hand batter. Now Bernard with the pitch. And it's low and away for a ball. 1-0, the count to Frank Bowling with 1 man out, nobody on base. Score tied 4-4. Bernard's pitch swung on, hit in the air to right field, and chased way back by Johnny Lewis. He's there, and he makes the catch. 2 men out, nobody on base, and Dennis Menke is now coming up for the Atlanta Braves with 2 men out. He is a right-hand batter. Score tied 4-4. Bernard with the pitch. Low and away. Out of Choo-Choo's glove. He retrieves it. It's ball 1. 2 men out and nobody on base. Pittsburgh Pirates got a run in the bottom half of the 9th inning to beat the Cardinals by a score of 6-5. Pittsburgh 6, the Cardinals 5. Here's a pitch low for a ball. It's 2-0. Reads the sign of Choo-Choo Coleman. Pitch is in for a call strike. It's 2-1. Now your Wes Westrom moving Al Luplo in left field on over toward the left field line. He's moving Cleon Jones over toward the left. Playing Menke to pull a little more. Now Lewis joins in and moves over toward center. Westrom wanted Menke play just a little bit more to pull. Here's the pitch, 2-1. Check swing, foul ball, backing out of play. It's 2-2. Woody Fryman got the win today for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And Dennis Oz, or rather Al Jackson, took the loss. Al Jackson was the losing pitcher for the Cardinals today. He worked in relief. Breaking ball hit on the ground. Foul back at third. Gloved in foul territory by Ken Boyer. Clay Carroll is throwing now down in the bullpen for the Atlanta Braves. All the excitement of a Sunday afternoon at Shea Stadium, and we'll have a lot of them between now and October. Sunday doubleheader will be played when the Mets come back against the Chicago Cubs on Sunday afternoon, May the 8th. Here's 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball hit on the ground to deep short. Pursuit is there, up with it, wings it across, and it's in time. He's out. Stewart gave it a big stretch, and the side is out in order with no runs, no hits, no errors, none left. Score at the end of 8.5 innings. There's the Braves 4 and the Mets 4.
Talk about tinker to Evers to chance. WGY comes up with a double play combination of their own every afternoon. Total to Ducey to Edwardson takes you at a smart pace right through from 12:15 to 5:45 p.m. Start at the top with Farm Paper of the Year. And don't you believe it's strictly about cows. When it comes to greening up your garden, Don and his sidekick Hank Coons are the sharpest and funniest pair of trowel artists to come your way. At 1:10, relax and listen along with Jerry Ducey. He's the man of 100 voices and the matching change of mood. The music varies from old-fashioned favorites to up-tempo moderns, and you'll swing right along with them.
At 3:15, Bill Edwardson comes your way with all that jazz. He's bright, he's brash, he's a knowledgeable music man. His on-the-scene interviews with top popular music pros are an added bonus you'll find only on The Edwardson Show. Join the Big Three, Tuttle, Ducey, and Edwardson, every afternoon on WGY. This is WGY, 810 on your dial, and WGFM Schenectady.
We're going on to the bottom of the ninth. Before we do, we pause for station identification. This is the New York Mets Baseball Network.
At 5:03, it's WGY 810 on your dial and WGFM Schenectady.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner at Shea Stadium, and Dick Stewart's up to lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the ninth. Score tied 4-4. Billy Odell's pitch inside for a ball to Dick Stewart. Stewart has struck out twice today. Hit into a force play once and was out on a fielder's choice once. 1-0 pitch, swung on and hit to short. Taken there by Woodward. Wings it over to first in time, and Stewart grounds out short to first. One away in the bottom of the ninth, and Choo-Choo Coleman is coming up. National Hockey League playoffs final, Detroit 5, Chicago 3. Red Wings 5, and the Blackhawks 3. Choo-Choo is being called back now. Choo-Choo Coleman is being called back. He's a left-hand batter. Manager Westrom is going to go to his bench here in the bottom half of the ninth inning. And he is sending up Billy Murphy, the right-hand batter. Bill Murphy is an outfielder by trade who was drafted by the Mets from the New York Yankee organization. Bill Murphy getting into Major League action for the first time here this afternoon as a pinch hitter for Choo-Choo Coleman in the bottom half of the ninth. Billy Odell looking in for a sign from Joe Torre. And the pitch. Outside for a ball. It's 1-0. Here's the 1-0 delivery. It's outside for a ball. 2-0. So Murphy looks down to Whitey Herzog, the coach at third. Steps back into the batter's box. Pitcher Larry Bernard is on deck for the Mets. 2-0 delivery. Low for a ball, and now Odell has got behind 3-0 to Billy Murphy. You figure he'd be taking here. One man out, bottom half of the ninth inning. We'll find out in just a moment. The 3-0 pitch is high and he walks. So the Mets get a base runner with one man out in the bottom of the ninth, and Larry Bernard is going to bat for himself. Ed Versu will be on deck. Jerry Grody has been brought in out of the bullpen because Coleman, the catcher, is out of the ball game. Braves have to protect against the likelihood of a sacrifice here with the pitcher up, one man out in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Here's the pitch. Bernard squares the bunt but takes the pitch high for ball one. Lee Thomas, the first baseman, was really charging on the pitch. Dennis Menke at third moved in as well. That's trying to get Billy Murphy, representing the winning run, over to second base. Here's a pitch, and it's high for a ball. Odell goes behind to Bernard, 2-0. Bernard is not a bad hitter. During his career, he has been used as a pinch hitter. This will be a 2-0 delivery off the stretch. And it's in for a called strike. He wasn't running on that pitch. Bernard did not square around. He had the bat cocked. Now it's 2 balls and 1 strike. So let's see if Manager Westrom goes back to the bunt. Murphy takes his lead at first. the pitch. He squares to bunt and bunts the ball up the first baseline. Taken by Thomas. Throws to second. He's safe there. The ball goes on to center field. Billy Murphy goes to third. He's being held up as Woody Woodward retrieves the ball. Holding at first is Bernard. Runners at first and third and one man out. And Ed Brissou coming up. The throw from Torrey, or rather from Thomas, the first baseman, was low at second. Went in there on one hop and ricocheted on out into center field, allowing Billy Murphy the opportunity to come on in to third base. An error charged on the play, on the throw. An error on the throw charged against Lee Thomas. Now infield in and outfield in for the Braves, and here comes Briggs to the mound. The manager of the Braves is coming to the mound. No sacrifice for Bernard on the play. It is the opinion of the official scorer that if the throw had been perfect, it would have managed to get the runner at second. The error charged against first baseman Lee Thomas, who fielded the ball. The Braves have the infield in and the outfield in because there's only one man out and a long sacrifice fly would end the ball game anyway. Runners at first and third. Brissou is a right-hand batter. Odell's pitch is low for a ball. Ed Brissou, a man who's been in the major leagues 10 years, at the plate. All the Mets want here now is any way at all to get that man at third with the winning run. They would be delighted with a long fly ball. Billy Odell. Again, up and set. Here's the pitch. It's outside. Torrey chipped it out. And taking the pitch. 2 balls and no strikes now to Brissou. He looks down to Whitey Herzog, the coach at third. Al Luplo is on deck for the Mets. Bernard, the runner at first. Murphy, the runner at third. Odell again checks. 2-0. Swung on as a high foul ball back to first, drifting over near the stands. It's in the seats and out of play. 2-1. It appeared that Brissou was trying to loft that ball into the air almost anyway. 2 balls and 1 strike. Now the chant of "Let's go Mets" here at Shea Stadium. The score tied 4-4. With the Mets bidding in the bottom of the ninth. Here's the 2-1 pitch outside. 3 balls and 1 strike. They're being very careful with Brissou because they don't mind loading up the bases. And they're going to put him on intentionally. Brissou's going to be walked intentionally. Luplo is coming up, a left-hand batter. And he is walked intentionally to load the bases. Left-hand batter Luplo is scheduled up. Now, is manager Western going to let him bat, or is he going to send up Ron Swoboda or Jerry Grody? Luplo is coming back. And here comes Swoboda. Ron Swoboda will bat for Al Luplo with the bases loaded and 1 man out here in the bottom half of the ninth inning with the score tied 4-4. Joe Torrey goes out to have a word with left-hand pitcher Billy Odell. Coach Whitey Herzog is going all the way out to have a word with base runner Larry Bernard at second base. The thing the Mets want most to protect against here is the double play. That's what the Braves would like to pull off. They still have to play it infield in and outfield in. A very shallow outfield. A 4-4 ball game in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Billy Murphy is the runner at third. Larry Bernard is the runner at second. Ed Brissou the runner at first. Billy Odell will now work straight away. Pitch to the right-hand batter. line of Joe Torre. Checks the runner at third. And here is the pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike two. So quickly Odell goes ahead of Ron Swoboda with a two-strike count. Runners leading at first, second, and third. Odell set to work. The two-strike delivery. Outside, just missed the corner. Odell thought he might get a call. One ball and two strikes. Now to Swoboda. Again, Odell reads the sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Swoboda. Low in the dirt, blocked by Torre. No chance for any runner to advance. And the count holds at 2-2 to Swoboda. Ron Hutt loosening up in the on-deck circle with 2 men out. Score tied, 4-4. The Mets have the bases loaded in the bottom half of the ninth inning. Billy Odell working the 2-2 pitch. It's low, and the count is full at 3-2. So with 1 man out, the bases are loaded. It's a 3-2 count to Swoboda with the score tied 4-4. Fans up and on their feet here at Shea Stadium in New York. Now Swoboda's in, swinging the bat as he waits. Billy Odell is getting the sign from Joe Torre. He has it. Here's a payoff pitch. Outside, he walks it, and the game is over. The game is over. Ron Swoboda calls a walk that forces in the winning drive. Swoboda gets a run batted in as Billy Murphy crosses the plate, and the New York Mets have won it by a score of 5-4. Winning it in the bottom half of the ninth inning after Billy Odell went ahead of Swoboda with a two-strike count. He walked him on the next 4 pitches, and Odell has walked in the winning run. Billy Murphy crosses the plate. Swoboda goes on down to first, and this ball game is over with the Mets winning it by a score of 5-4. For the Mets, 5 runs on 10 hits and 3 errors. For the Braves, 4 runs on 6 hits and 3 errors. So Odell is the losing pitcher in the ball game, and Larry Bernard gets his first win of the young season, and the New York Mets take the opening series from the Braves by a count of 2-1. This opening series drawing more than 100,000 paid, with a paid crowd today of 26,965 here at Shea Stadium. The New York Mets, for the third straight day, scored in the bottom half of the first inning. Johnny Lewis singled, and Ken Boyer hit the first of 3 doubles to drive in the first run. The Mets added another run in the bottom half of the third inning, as again it was Johnny Lewis scoring. He drew a walk, and Ed Kranepool singled him home, so the Mets had a 2-0 lead. However, Lee Thomas hit a 2-run homer in the top of the 4th over the right field fence off starter Dick Selma, and it was a 2-2 ball game. Then Felipe Lou homered in the top half of the 5th inning off Selma to put the Braves out in front by a score of 3-2, and that was off a starter Dick Selma. Gordon Richardson came on to relieve him. The Braves picked up still another run in the top half of the 6th inning. Henry Aaron doubled, and Joe Torre singled him home, and the Braves at that point led by a score of 4-2. That's the way it was going to the bottom half of the 8th inning. And at that point, Ron Hutt singled with 2 men out, Johnny Lewis singled, and Ken Boyer doubled, both of them home to tie the score. That was the 3rd double of the day for Ken Boyer, who also turned in a couple of sparklers afield. Then in the 9th inning, the New York Mets came on, bottom half of the 9th with the score tied. Dick Stewart grounded out, and then Billy Murphy came on to bat for Choo-Choo Coleman and walked. Larry Bernard bunted the ball out in front of the plate. First baseman Lee Thomas charged, threw to second on 1 hop. The ball got away, went on out into center field, and Murphy went on to third. Thomas was charged with an error on the play. Then Ed Pursue was intentionally walked to load the bases, and Ron Swoboda came on as a pinch hitter. The count was 2 strikes on him, and then the next 4 pitches missed the strike zone, and he was walked, and the winning run came across.